We need to, in your packet, you have a resignation letter from Dr. Nina Parmesan. She was our representative of Lapeer Township. I need a motion to accept that letter of resignation. Motion by Carrie, supported by John. Discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. New member introduction. We have one new member. Peggy, would you like to introduce yourself?
I need to introduce, but Peggy Brodsky, I was appointed by Lapeer Township, and look forward to working with all the board members.
Thank you, and welcome, Peggy.
Thank you.
Is that your recommendation?
It solves the issue. The concern is that you want the treasurer to be the chair of the commission. If the board wants the treasurer to be the chair of this committee, then appointing whoever serves as treasurer is the chair of the committee, and it solves the problem. And then when you vote in the treasurer, then that person is automatically the chair of the committee.
Okay. So, I would entertain a motion to name the treasurer as the chair of the finance. Sherry made the motion. Is there support? Thank you. Okay. Discussion? All those in favor signify by aye. Opposed, same. Okay, board officers. I guess we nominate officer.
I nominate Bill as chairman of the board again.
Is there support? Is there support? Okay, motion is made to nominate Terry Coleman as board chair. And that motion has been supported. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Opposed?
Opposed?
Motion carries. Credit card approvals. Oh, wait, we still got to do this. Treasurer. We have to do a vice chair or treasurer?
Is there a water?
Yes.
It's just the county commission. Nobody knows what they're supposed to be friggin' doing.
And then running the secretary and the only real thing is we have to
Well, even if you're an officer that, maybe you have to redo you're doing your bylaws to make the sheet more.
Our bylaws state that we do have one of each, but it doesn't specify if that person has to be, can a secretary and a treasurer be the same person? Our bylaws don't say that it can't.
What I would do would be to amend the bylaws to have a secretary treasurer position. I think right now it's for the officer position by your bylaw, and I would have those at 4 people right now. If you want to hold off on, I don't know if there's anything in your bylaws that say you have to elect them tonight. If you want to try to hold off on that, but without looking at it, I would.
It doesn't say that. There's nothing that says that we cannot hold off.
There has been some interest in revisiting the whole bylaws issue. That is the next item under our new business.
So we can.
Bylaw review.
I usually go chair, vice chair, and then vice chair.
I make a motion to nominate Commissioner.
Motion is made to nominate John Diageo as vice chair. Is there support? Coleman? Discussion? All those in favor, signify by aye. Opposed? Nays? Ayes have it. Peggy has been nominated to be secretary. Is there support? John? Secretary. We skipped over secretary. Is discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? Opposed? Please have it. Peggy will be the new secretary. Do we want to do with the treasurer, or what do we want to do? You guys are,
I would vote on the since you already approved the secretary and approved the treasurer too. Because you don't, you can't really provide a
right. I nominate Terry Valley to be treasurer. Your support? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Okay, and I guess you're going to stay treasurer until board comments or requests for information. Anybody from the board have anything that they'd like to say?
Yeah, I do, and I also, for request for information, I wondered, I would like to get a copy of the current collection development policy. How to go about doing that.
It's in your policy line.
Oh, thank you. Please go through that. Yeah, I would like to make some comments just because so many people are here and they took the time to come and speak publicly, so.
Could you speak up so we can hear you?
Okay, sure. So I wanted to be very clear that I have no intentions of banning books. There is not, there's a rumor going around on social media, and I've gotten several emails too. People are concerned that I have a list of 2,500 books that I plan to pull up and destroy, and I'm keeping these books from parents. It's not true. It's simply not true. I would really like to find out why so many people are believing this. The only way to dispel a rumor is to go to the source and talk with them and let them know that it's not true. So if anybody has the integrity to do that, or the you can email me. You can find my email on the library website by clicking on my name, and just maybe let me know why you're thinking that, and I'll let you know right now, if any respectful email that I get, you will get a respectful reply from me. And there are a few speakers here that I have, in the past, I've asked to sit down so we could go back and forth on our views, and each time I was refused, and nobody wanted to meet with me. So I'm a very open person, I'm an honest person. I will address any issue that you want to ask me, as long as it's done respectfully, you'll get a respectful reply. I'm a little concerned about the rumor because it's growing in intensity. I'm getting emails that are saying that I want to pull all the books off the shelf that are people of color, or gay lesbian, or black history. I mean, it's growing and growing, and I don't think any of you here would want that to happen to you, or so I'm just asking that if you hear something, try to find out the source and find out if it's true. And I know a lot of the things you guys are saying, I agree with, and I know other members of the board, we agree that parents should be first and foremost making decisions on what their kids read. The problem is that not every child has a responsible adult to guide them.
No, that's not sorry. That's not true. Not to listen.
This is not your time to respond, folks.
I'm not talking
There will be
about-
another public comment period. For now, button it. Let Ms. Brodsky finish her
I'm
remarks.
sorry if that offended you. I didn't mean like personally any of you in here, but if you listen to the news, you listen to all the things that are happening, not every kid has a responsible adult in their life that can guide them. I wish it was that way, I really do. But I'm not saying, my main thing is to let parents know when they get their child a library card, what that means. Now, I tell you, there's something that I just saw on the website, which was very positive. There's a parent tab on there now that does explain it. It explains it very well, and I'm very happy that it's there. Like I said, I'm not wanting to pull books. I'm not wanting to target any certain group. It's not me. If you don't believe me, I guess, time will tell. You'll just have to wait around and see. I do thank you for all your comments, and I agree with a lot of the things that you're saying. So, just all.
Any other board comments?
Yes, I would like to.
John, go ahead.
Well, I want to thank you for being a very fair chairman over the past year. And I just wanted you to know that I appreciate that.
Any other comments? Okay, now we are back to the part of the agenda where we can have more public comment. I will remind you, if you've already spoken, you may not speak again.
Let's see.
Is there any other additional public comment? Brian?
Good evening. My name is Brian Cloutier. I'm Director and CEO of Lapeer Public Library. I'm a member of the Michigan Library Association's Legislative Advocacy Committee. And before the holiday, I had the privilege of testifying before the State House Government Operations Committee on support of the Freedom to Read bills. Unfortunately, it didn't make it through our state legislature, but it is what it is. It's not because we didn't try. I will be very upfront and honest with you. Some of you have gotten to know fairly well. I'm not messing around. Your attorney here is the best library law attorney in the state. And I would argue that she's probably among the top 5 library law attorneys, if not the top in the country. If you think that you're not going to listen to her advice, you're going to learn very quickly that the people behind me, the ACLU, and I will be getting a lawyer, and she's going to get to know my lawyer on a first-name basis. You're not going to get away with this kind of stuff that you're trying to pull here. You may be pulling the wool over the eyes of many people in this county, but you sure as hell are not fooling me. And I'm not putting up with it. If you think that you're going to fool this attorney, I've already talked to my lawyer, and I'm lawyered up, and I'm ready to go, and she's about ready to meet him. So don't think about it.
Is there any other public comment?
Hi, I'm Carol Brown. I'm chosen by Mayfield Township to be the next representative for the township out of 3. 3 people wrote letters, so that's how you get chosen, you write a letter. I guess I just wanted to introduce myself. I was a little surprised to accept the resignation that I wasn't seated tonight. Can somebody explain that to me?
We haven't been notified officially.
What does
As
that
you
mean?
know. Well, we've got nothing from the township officially appointed.
Okay, is there a certain date that needed to be done by? Because I thought Julie told me she signed a letter.
Not that I've seen.
You have a township, I've been trying to contact the township attorney will call me back and I will talk to him about this.
When's the last time you talked to them?
I emailed him 2 times last week and I tried to go on today and I have not received a response.
When's the last time you did talk to them?
I don't have that information from you.
All
But
right. Thank you very much.
Once we get official notification, then you'll be brought in and be sworn in, and you do the, although I guess we can't do the open meeting anymore because there's no order of notary. But you can do it.
My comment are.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, actually, I'd like to make a motion to replace Foster and Swift with Rickard, Denny, Fletcher, Childers, and Bosch.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Is there discussion?
I'd like to know why.
Do you have?
Well,
I'm so sorry, could that be repeated?
No.
Oh, okay, so sorry.
The name?
most of them know them as the Denny Group. They're in Lapeer, they're a local group of attorneys. And really the reason why is, here we get, we get money from the community and we send it over to Grand Rapids. And I think we should, since we're taking money from our community, put it back into our community with a local firm.
I don't know what experience this law firm has in doing library law. But library law is different than any other kind of law, municipal law. And while I appreciate we get some revenue from, most of our revenue from the village, and I appreciate the fact that you want to spend it locally, I'm concerned that we don't have as qualified a law firm as familiar with library law as our president, as Foster Swift is. I think change for the sake of change makes no sense to me.
Yeah, he was on the board of directors.
I understand that you said he was a trustee.
Yeah.
I get that. That is not doing library law.
Right.
He sat in this chair where I'm sitting right now.
Yes.
That is not doing library law.
I
I am not a library law
Right, well,
person, neither is he.
okay. How about a call to question?
Does anybody else want to say?
I'll comment that I think it's showing respect to God who gave us our unalienable rights in this country. And I think it's appropriate to open with prayer. A lot of organizations do. That's my comment.
I'll comment as well. We can add it, it doesn't mean everybody has to participate. We can't force people to participate in prayer or the pledge, and everybody has the option not to participate. I also would like to address a few things, just common things that I hear from, I don't want to say sides, but from both sides, about it's the parent's responsibility to take their child to the library and decide what they want to read. I just want to remind everybody that we have a child welfare system. There are over 427,000 kids in the child welfare system. I recently helped somebody prepare a training for human trafficking, and it was reported that 60% of child sex trafficking rescue children were in the foster care system. So they're easy targets, they're very vulnerable. I believe there are a few books in our library, very few, compared to the thousands of books that we have. I don't think we're doing that bad as a library. But I do believe there are a few that can be harmful. So, thinking about that and the fact that you can't deny that we have vulnerable children in our community. And as an agency that services children, we have the obligation to look out for those children. I appreciate that I didn't hear any name calling tonight. I really do appreciate that. I have heard a few things that are still supporting this rumor that I will now call a lie, because it is a lie, that we are going to burn books. I was at the county commissioners meeting when Scott McMahon said, you know, personally, he knows some of the books that he doesn't agree with, and he would do a public burning, but he followed that by saying that he has talked to board members, and none of the board members have expressed that to him, or any other paper, or any other person, that that's what we want to do. And in my mind, there's a big difference between banning a book and restricting a book. Nobody here has the authority to ban a book. Nobody sitting on this board, or nobody out in the public. Banning a book is, you know, that means you don't, it's not in print. You can't have it, you can't touch it, you can't read it, it can't be read. And if, you know, if you're not in support of restricting books that can be harmful to children, it's hard, it's just hard to relate to that for me. I understand the right to read, and I understand that people are passionate about that, and adults don't want their books restricted. But I have a hard time with adults that, you know, if you see some of this material, that you can't at least work together, parents and the board work together to figure it out. So that's it.
Thank you. I'm John Miller, Lapeer Township. I'm also the prosecuting attorney for the county. And I just wanted to recognize and thank the new board members tonight, because you got involved in this kind of turbulent time, and you volunteered one of the most precious commodities we have, which we all have, which is our time, and to an issue that is important to our community and that a lot of people obviously care about. I've been to county commission meetings for a long time. This is a really big audience. I don't think that we really get that many folks at county commission meetings, so it demonstrates that everyone is concerned. And I've been called a book banner too. I have no intention of banning a book, ever. But when I see the letters that come through my office of children that have been sexually assaulted, molested, when I see child sexually abusive material cases involving what we call child pornography,
this is his time.
We talk about in the courtroom, it changes your perspective. And so we have these competing interests. But I think it's important, as Ms. Brodsky has already pronounced this evening, that the standard that we have to judge by and make decisions by as a public body is the standard of what's in the best interest of the greater good. What is the interest that serves those who can't speak for themselves? Because that's what I do as a prosecutor. I protect people that can't protect themselves. I protect those that have been victimized. And I have dealt firsthand with children that have been sexually assaulted. And I have seen young girls be committed to hating women for having to testify in court about the horrors that were committed against them. And it's very damaging to me. So you have this interest of free speech on one hand and people that want these materials to be accessible to them, and no one here is suggesting or implying that those should ever be banned. What we're saying, and I think, and I'll kind of step out on a limb here, what we're saying is we want to protect children. And I think that is commendable, because if you work in my profession and see the cases that we deal with, I assure you it would change your outlook. And so when you're serving in the public capacity, that greater good is what we always measure our decisions by. And that greater good is something that we all have to balance in that. But at the end of the day, protecting children is the interest that governs, and I'm proud that that's been recognized and dealt with here today in a professional manner. And I will just remind everyone, the only way we get through this is to be civil to each other, respect one another. And I think we've seen some of that here tonight. We've seen a little bit of commenting that you know, when this board's trying to do business, it's important to let them do business. Thank you.
Lapeer.
By the way, Mr. Denon, who had served on the board, was the legal representative for Burnside Township when they tried to get out of the district library. He didn't realize he couldn't do it. Now, if he sat on the board, he should have had that knowledge about how townships need to be in or out and how they can get out. He didn't even know that, and they actually voted to get out of it and couldn't.
We did not have a lot of time to discuss it, and I don't want to sit here and ramrod through like we did with the lawyers last year, or the last meeting. That's not the way we usually do business.
Well, we can discuss it.
We can discuss it, but I don't want to see a vote on it tonight.
If a motion is brought, though,
Yeah.
there's nothing we can do with it.
Did we receive the written change? Because that would be a change to the bylaws. When did we receive it?
At the last meeting.
How come we haven't had a copy of it to even look at?
Did I send something to Kara this week?
I have got nothing.
No, Kara.
Yep, and I forwarded it to Carrie.
Are there any other questions from the last meeting in regard to the financial report?
Yeah, many. I'm gonna start on the last meeting. I don't know, in the packet.
That would be for this meeting.
When do we do that? I'm new.
When we get to
Sorry.
finance.
When, depends on what your questions are in regard to, if they are in.
Financial report.
Then we will discuss that when we get to the treasurer.
Okay. Before there's a second, I have a lot of questions on that page, just because I don't know how it works. The third one down, Lapeer District Library, lost patron materials, $15. Can you explain that?
Someone didn't return their book, and it was an interloan, so we had to pay for the book.
Okay, so all those on here that are lost patrons
Yes.
is the same thing?
That would be correct.
Okay, there's Stephanie Foley, 15919 is the number. Program leader, what program is that, please?
I don't have that check here, but that would be for one of the programs that was put on by the library for the kids. It could have been a magic show, could have been any, I don't know which one that was.
Can you find out for next time? I'd like to know.
Carol, you can email us, we can let you know.
Carol.
I'm asking the treasurer though, so, you know, I'd like him to.
Well, she has all the checks, I don't have those.
And then next is another program presenter, 15922, Bill Morris. I'd like to know what program that is, please.
He's an author.
You know, I'd like a little more information, what the program's called, maybe what times it's held, stuff like that. I'm asking now, I don't think I should have to come to the office
I think
and ask.
that's-
You can write it down and let me know, please.
And I think if you could just send her an email with,
Those two programs.
Yeah, with those two, programs, and what they are, I think.
Almost done. 15934, Mideastern Michigan Library Cooperative State Aid Payment, $16,095.55. Can you please explain that?
State aid that we get goes to the Mideastern Michigan Library Co-op, and it goes into our account, and when we need certain monies, then we request it from the MMLC, and they send us the requested amount. We're not supposed to get the money direct from the state. It has to go through a cooperative.
Sounds, it's kind of like a savings account?
Yeah, kind of. We get a statement from them. We have two different types of accounts there, one that is restricted and one that we can use for whatever.
Okay. So this $16,000 is in there for the year, or?
Depends on how often the state sends a check. They may send more than one check a year. So you may see this again.
This is figured into the budget, I assume.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we know what we're getting, so we can budget, but it has to go through them.
The last one is the last two, Brown City Public Library and Mayville District Public Library, penal fines.
We get penal fines from the state, and we're obligated to send so much to Brown City Public Library in Mayville, being that they're part of the Lapeer District Library.
And
Those are shared funds.
I'm sorry for my ignorance, but can you explain what a penal fine is?
Traffic fines, whatever.
Parking tickets. Thank you. That's it. For that.
Okay, so do I have a second?
Wait, is this budget?
Oh, we're gonna go through all one more.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I have questions on that one also. The Alaris Financial, which is the first one, and there's another one. They both say 457 contributions.
Those are contributions made by our employees.
And
They're
what-
in a plan that's called a 457 contribution plan. It's a payment plan.
And then there's a few that are real small amounts for Aflac.
Those are, Aflac would be, some of the employees opted to take out Aflac insurance, and that's them paying.
That's them paying, okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Madam Chair, you're gonna call for a vote? We haven't voted on anything
Okay.
yet tonight.
Okay, sorry.
You just said motion carried, but we
Okay,
haven't
I'm
voted on
sorry,
anything.
I'm sorry. Okay, there's a second to, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Wait,
Should I go back? Let's go back to the, I'm sorry, consent agenda. Do I have or all those in favor say aye? All those opposed?
nay. I have questions for the budget and actual, so are we voting on that?
No, I went back because I didn't ask for a vote on the
Oh.
consent agenda. So are you a yes?
Yes,
Okay.
okay. Sorry, don't understand all this yet.
Okay,
She forgot to take a vote from this.
so, Lapeer County report. We don't have anybody from the county here. Do you want to say anything, Kevin, for the county?
I have nothing to say right now.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? Are we gonna go over the budget and actuals? That's why I said nay.
No,
Oh, I had questions on that. Sorry, that's why I said nay.
You said nay to the
Budget
finance
and actuals.
when we,
We didn't go over that one. I'm new, so I'm kind of
That's what
blank.
she thought we were voting on, so she said nay, because she thought we should go for all this too.
I said nay because I have questions.
you have, okay.
If we're done with the treasurer's report, I'm not done.
Is this considered part of the finance?
well, it's part of it. It's just showing you where, how
Okay,
much
so
of the
why don't
money
we-
has gone where.
Right.
Okay, so she has questions. So what are your questions?
Okay, about 3/4 of the way down, 916.801, board per diem.
Does anybody understand?
Actual is $300, and it's only, the budget is $720. There's 7 board members at $30 a meeting, that's over $2,000.
That's because in the 11 years, 12 years I've been on the board, nobody has ever asked for the $30 stiff. So far this year, we've had $300 that have been asked for.
Okay.
That's why it's actual. we do put in a little bit on the budget, but these are what we would consider kind of a living budget that can be adjusted accordingly as the year goes on. They're not figures that can't be adjusted because we don't know what people are gonna do.
Well, it's in the bylaws, so I'll tell you right now, I would like my per diem.
There's a form to fill out, all you have to do is turn it in and go from there. You'll get paid for them.
Is that with Teresa? Is that who we,
I have forms.
or with Kara? Okay. At the beginning of every meeting, you can go see Kara and she'll have forms that you can fill out.
I don't need it every meeting, quarterly or
Okay,
whatever.
yeah, you can.
Yeah, however you fill it out, you know, whether.
Okay, and then, let's see, what else have I got? The rent and lease expenses, budget 305.
Where you at?
941.99, no, 940.000.
Yeah.
Rent and lease, 305,953. So
No,
what?
that's the next
That's
line.
the
No,
next
that's the
line.
next line.
That's contingencies.
Well, I'm at my questions about the rent and lease.
We have, how many locations?
8.
We have 8 locations. We pay rent on 1
No,
or 2,
possibly 3.
possibly 3. So we have rent that we pay for the building to house the library. So far, we paid $1,111 in rent this year.
Okay. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Unfinished business, let's discuss adding prayer and pledge to the bylaws in the agenda section. Any discussion?
What are we doing now?
We're discussing adding prayer to the bylaws.
As far as I'm concerned, prayer should be kept out of the library. It's not part of the library. I don't have a problem with the pledge, but I do have a problem with prayer because you have multiple denominations, and if you're going to start the prayers, who's to say that the public can't come out here, whether they be a Satanist, a Muslim, or something else, and ask to have their prayers said also? You don't want to get into that. You really don't.
Harry, they can do that now in public.
I understand, but have we ever had it? No. Add the prayer, you're going to get it.
I would like to add that the city commission has dealt with this years ago, and the resolve that they came to was the pledge is the pledge, and it's, the city commission does it, we should do it. Prayer, the way the city handles it is if there's a member of the public who wants to say a prayer, it can even be a board member. Melissa Petrie at every city commission meeting begins her public comment, or in public comment, we'll start off the meeting with a prayer. If we want to include prayer, that would be a reasonable workaround. But I agree with Barry that prayer to begin this meeting is inappropriate, unless it's offered by someone from the public.
I know prayer is said at the county meetings, and it's never been an issue. I attend a lot of the county meetings, and it's something people can choose to partake in or not. But I don't know if there. Maybe Tim could speak to if there are any legal issues that would stop us from doing this, or legally we are allowed to do it. I would think.
Legally, it's not that controversial at this point because we have two major court opinions. One, a U.S. Supreme Court opinion, and we also have a very high-level Sixth Circuit opinion from 2017, which was very unusual because right below the Supreme Court, there's the Court of Appeals. They usually have 3-judge panels. Well, this one was about a 15-judge panel, and they ruled that, in that case, that the county commission could begin their meetings with prayer. I just went to a municipal seminar for attorneys all across the state, and it was not terribly controversial, and the common understanding amongst the speaker was that it was lawful. Doesn't mean you have to do it, but at this point, the law is really not unsettled. It's really well decided.
Well decided that prayer is acceptable.
Yeah, that it's constitutional. In fact, the Supreme Court case was where the public prayed at the beginning of each town meeting. And the 2017 case was a case where the county commissioners themselves prayed before each meeting, and both of those were found to be constitutional.
So we could, so it's safe to say that we could have a board member praise.
Yeah, that was precisely the 2017 case, was one of the board members prayed before the meeting, as the meeting started.
Okay. And that would be specified in the bylaws specifically?
It's up to you. You wouldn't have to put it in the bylaws. You could have it as a matter of, you're setting the agenda for the meeting. If you want it in the bylaws, you probably ought to have specific language drafted that the board would vote on. I would say typically, most of that I've seen, it hasn't been in the bylaws. It's just been decided by the public body to actually allow for time for that to be done. So.
I have a question. How many library boards have this as something that they do? You said most of the precedent has been like board of commissioners, just asking.
Yeah, I don't have a number on that.
Okay.
Congress
Have you heard
and
of it?
Senate also pray. Oh, the libraries.
Say it again, I didn't hear.
Congress and
Is a
Senate.
number on libraries.
Thank you.
I was going to save this for the end for my comment, but since we're discussing it now, I'll read this. The intention of separating church and state that Thomas Jefferson wrote to the Danbury Baptist Association in response to their letter written to him was that there would not be an establishment of religion, a national religion everyone had to adhere to, but the state government was to be separate from the church or religion, and the government could not prohibit the people's free exercise of whatever religion they wanted to believe in. The phrase separation of church and state came about to keep the state government out of the church. The colonists had fled Great Britain because of the tyranny they were living under. This included a national religion that everyone was expected to adhere to. We're not asking that here. You don't have to adhere to it. The intention behind the word separation of church and state was to keep government from controlling what religion the people practice. People have the freedom of religion, not from religion. And our Declaration of Independence contains numerous references of God by saying laws of nature and of nature's God. Men are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. That's where that came from. Protection of divine providence, supreme judge of the world. The colonists believed in God as their Creator and protector. They desired the freedom to worship Him in their own way without the state dictating how they were to worship.
And that's one interpretation.
That's mine.
I think I have to go. I can't be lectured by these people. I'm sorry.
Okay, is there any more discussion?
I'd like to make a motion that we add prayer and we add the pledge at our next meeting, at the beginning of our next meeting.
I'll support.
What was the motion?
They add prayer and the pledge at the beginning of our next meeting.
I thought we said we were.
This is going to be for discussion only, John. We were not gonna do a motion tonight, we're gonna have a discussion.
It's next meeting.
You do have a right to make a motion, and now there is a motion on the floor.
Here we go. We're gonna just bulldog everything through again.
What more needs to be said?
Pardon?
If you have anything else to say, we can discuss more.
No, it's not a matter of discussion.
This is our board meeting.
This is the board meeting. This is not a matter of, do you need more discussion? At the beginning of the meeting, we said that this would be
No action.
done, no action tonight, and it would be done at the May meeting.
Unless somebody made a motion. is what I-
No, we didn't say that. We said it would be done at the next meeting.
So we had discussion last month, and we have a discussion this month. Do you anticipate that it's going to change from,
We will just
I mean?
vote on it at the next meeting, like we said we would do at the beginning of this meeting.
I would not be supportive of a motion to deal with both of these issues in the same motion. To me, the pledge and prayer are two different motions.
We can set.
I would be willing to discuss that, but not tonight at the next meeting. Two separate motions.
We do still have a motion on the floor, so.
Yes, support.
It was
And
improperly put forward.
So unless you want to rescind that, we will have to take a vote. You want a roll call vote?
Yes.
Okay. Carol?
I vote yes.
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 Wait a minute, I'm confused. We're voting on both of them together?
That's the motion that was on the floor.
It's the motion you made.
I can't take it off the floor once it's out there.
Because you can't do your job.
Thank you.
And that was last,
Not a
that was
time for
last week's
personal
motion.
attack.
Or last month's
The rules, I
motion.
can't
I'm
take it
sorry.
off. I can't take it off. It's not.
I'm sorry, but you can control him. And you know what we said at the beginning of the meeting. You should tell him he should remove his motion and bring it up at the next meeting.
Barry, I'd do that if it changed anything at all.
Pardon?
If that would change anything at all.
It doesn't matter.
Folks, Mr. DeAngelis is her lapdog.
Sorry.
She's gonna push it through no matter what. They don't know what they're doing.
What did you
Thanks,
say?
sir. I heard what was said at the beginning of the meeting.
And I do agree with Bill, it should be two different motions. Turn around.
I don't think that should be, I'm the one.
So the motion, the agenda was already approved for it to be discussion only. And so we will leave it at discussion only. And so does he have to take the motion off the floor? No? Just going back to what the agenda said?
Let's go back to what the agenda says.
So we're just gonna have to go back to what the agenda said, which was discussion only.
Thank you.
Okay, and we will,
We don't need to separate them.
we will go next month, okay?
And I would like in May, two separate motions, John.
Very good. We will make sure that that is,
That's just kicking the can down the road.
next we have search committee. Or-
Yes, I got some company reached out to us, Summit HR, and some copies of this, if you want to pass it around. We got this yesterday, by the way. And it's for our search for our new director,
What's the name of the company?
Summit HR.
Oh, Summit HR, sorry. Okay. And they reached out to you?
They did. They're a California-based company, but they do a lot of business in Michigan, all over the country.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
The pivot group, which is the group that we use, but we hired LDL, had in our contract with them, if our director does not last 1 year, then Pivot will conduct an entirely new search at no charge.
Okay.
So I think that should be put into the hopper here somewhere.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, so this, so that's an option, is the pivot firm, or pivot group, I should say. They will do it at no charge to find another director.
The fee for this
Firm
is $6,500,
6,500.
which is very reasonable, in my opinion.
How much, again, was the pivot group?
Pivot group was under 9,000. A couple of the other larger groups were in the vicinity of $30,000 conducted in the executive search for us.
Okay.
Well, that firm found us a director that only lasted 7 months, so I'm kind of inclined to give someone else a chance.
And we did hear from our administrative people that they had some problems with them getting back to them on a timely basis.
Who, Pivot?
Yeah,
On what?
getting back
This
to.
is the first I've heard of it.
Pardon me?
This is the first I've heard of it.
Yeah, well, it came up when we were talking about, them with our
I'm sorry.
administrative people.
Why would the Pivot Group be working with them? They were working with the
No
committee.
idea. No idea. I'm just telling you what they said to me.
Yeah. Can you tell us who they were?
How about I tell you privately?
Okay.
I don't want to call anybody out.
Okay.
Okay, so, any more discussion on that?
Do you think you're going to have a recommendation for the May meeting?
Yes.
A
Okay.
recommendation for
Recommendation.
search firm?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to get going on this. It puts a lot of pressure on a staff without a director.
I'm sorry, what did you say? What's the recommendation?
If we're gonna have a recommendation, if the search committee, what? I don't think you'll have a recommendation, you'll show us a couple of firms that we can choose from.
I've got a couple of comments I'd like to make, Chair. With respect to the search for a new executive director, Mr. DeAngelis was quoted in the Lapeer County Tribune as pretty much indicating that Mike Womack, the city manager, was responsible for all of that. And I just want to set the record straight. In fact, Mr. DeAngelis made the motion to hire LDL McCarthy. Mike Womack did not do it. When we began the executive search, I put together an ad hoc committee of people that I thought would be helpful in searching for a new executive director. Terry, you and John had been on the board for all of about 3 months. So I had myself, Kelly Nolan, our vice chair, Terry Valley, our treasurer, Gary Phillips, our former board chair. Sam Moore, the executive director for Lapeer Development Corporation. And the rationale there is a good library helps economic development. So I wanted Sam Moore on it, and Mike Womack, because Mike, as a former city manager in Cedar Springs, was very, very involved with their local library. The ad hoc committee contracted with Pivot Group. I don't know where you're getting the information that James Freed was not responsive to our needs. James did an outstanding job. We, ad hoc committee, conducted interviews from among the various candidates that responded. And then we narrowed it down from there to 3 candidates and had a full board interview those 3 candidates. One of them withdrew her name from consideration before the actual interviews happened, which left us with 2 candidates. And Mr. DeAngelis made the motion to hire Danielle Brigatti, saying that she was head and shoulders better qualified than the other applicant. Now we throw everybody under the bus. And we're telling these tall tales about Mike Womack was somehow involved in this, and therefore we can't trust the Pivot Group. And it's disingenuous and disrespectful, and I won't tolerate it. Period. Thank you.
Cheryl Mavis, Metamora, and we've been asked to read Mary Powell's resignation letter to not just the board, but to people here. As an aside, I want Ms. Brodsky to pay special attention to this letter. From Mary Powell. I want to express my deepest gratitude for the opportunity to be part of the Lapeer District Library for the past 6 years. I will always cherish the support, guidance, and camaraderie I've experienced here. Writing this letter is difficult, as I never anticipated having to do so. I felt so happy here that I had once envisioned a future retiring at D'Angelo. It is important to me that you know how much I appreciate and admire the incredible team we have. I couldn't have asked for a better group of librarians to serve alongside with, and I am genuinely honored to have been part of the library's lasting positive impact on the community. One of the greatest joys during my time here has been witnessing the warmth and connection the library fosters among families as they grow. I will forever treasure the memories I've created with our patrons and the meaningful role I played in fostering an inclusive and enriching environment for them. The joy and excitement families experience in the library and their love for books will remain treasured Lapeer memories that I will hold close forever. As much as I have cherished my time here, it has been deeply troubling for me to witness poor treatment of our director, Amy Churchill, director, Danielle Brigatti, and attorney, Ann Surnick. I am profoundly disappointed by the hostility displayed by certain outspoken local officials and the 4 library trustees who now hold the majority. Their lack of support for the library mission, its staff, and the community has been deeply disheartening and antithetical to their role as trustees.
Jason Griffith, one newly appointed Mary Powell's resignation letter, one newly appointed board member with whom I have been in contact for the past 3 years has repeatedly interrogated me and my coworkers in person about the presence of books like Uncle Bobby's Wedding and Fred Gets Dressed, as well as materials on puberty, simply because they do not personally approve of them. Additionally, false claims have been made by them in public forums and on a blog impersonating a credible news source regarding genderqueer being shelved in our children's department. Despite repeated corrections, these inaccuracies continue to be spread fostering unnecessary animosity in the community of Lapeer. These falsehoods and the hostility they have fueled carry real consequences for real people who are simply trying to do their jobs and serve the community. I have included one of the threatening letters I have received from the same individual, which was sent via email, left on my desk, and deposited in the book drop. The letter contains an alarming threat to involve Child Protective Services and filing criminal complaints against librarians if their demands are not met. After much reflection, I have come to the difficult realization that staying in this role would mean jeopardizing both my livelihood and my well-being. For these reasons, it is my time to step away. I will always hold deep appreciation for this library and the people who made it special. I sincerely wish the Lapeer District Library all the best in the future, and I will truly miss you and our patrons. Sincerely, Mary Powell.
Good evening. My name is Kaylee, and I was raised in Lapeer with my two brothers. We all graduated from Lapeer West High School, proudly so. My parents used to bring me to the D'Angeli Library when I was a kid, and I have fond memories of story time and wandering through the aisles perusing books. It's here where my love of libraries began, and I continue to be a loyal patron of my local public library. I know we're all here to talk about books, but first, I'd like to talk about guns. Unfortunately, this community isn't unfamiliar with shooting deaths. A few years ago, a Lapeer student was shot and killed in Lapeer Township. Two more events, the shootings of Arthur Cohn and Andrea Adler, will always remain in my memory. This past February, I read a news headline titled, "Gun Found in Second Lapeer County School This Week." Here we have evidence that guns disrupt and even end lives in Lapeer, directly affecting children and families. Given the claims some board members have made about books harming children, I became curious about gun-related book content available to Lapeer youth. Through the Lapeer Library's online catalog, I found book titles such as Machine Gun Manual and American Gun, the true story of the AR-15. The fact that these books have not drawn the attention of our library board gives me pause. Again, it is evident that firearms cause not only fear, but death in Lapeer County, yet we still allow these books to remain available where hypothetically any child can access them. I wonder, should we keep track of anyone under the age of 18 who checks out one of these books? Should we restrict them so that anyone who wants to check them out first has to ask the library staff? If the true goal of this board is to protect our children, why do we have a machine gun manual at the library? These thoughts bring me to my main question for the library board trustees. Are the shooting deaths in Lapeer County caused by books about guns at our library? I want to ask that again. Are the shooting deaths in Lapeer County caused by books about guns at our library? The answer is absolutely not. If they were, we would be having a debate right now about whether or not to restrict the book, Guns, Concealed, and Carried. Just as allowing kids to check out books about firearms does not lead them down a dangerous path, allowing children to check out books with gay, lesbian, or non-binary characters does not cause them to be weird. To claim that books about guns directly harm children simply isn't true. To claim that books that talk about sex harm children simply isn't true. To claim that queer books at this library harm children simply isn't true. So, what's really the issue?
Your time's up.
I'd like a real answer to that question.
Truman Mask, Emily Township. Want to come up here and encourage you guys to continue standing for what is right, doing what you know is right. We all know in our hearts what is right and wrong. So I just want to encourage you guys, be strong. If you are persecuted for righteousness' sake, then blessed are you. So I want to point out, bring you guys' attention to something. I did a little bit of research today, and the Michigan Department of Corrections I went on their policy and that they have for their prison systems, and this is a policy that they have that says prohibiting incoming mail for inmates. I found this quite interesting. These are some of the things that are prohibited that inmates are not allowed to have access to and not allowed to see. One of it is mail describing or depicting acts of sadism, masochism, bondage, narcolepsia, or bestiality, or describing, depicting, or appearing to promote sexual acts involving children. So inmates in our federal prisons are not allowed to have access to this stuff, but yet our children can in our public libraries. It goes on. There's other things that inmates aren't allowed to have access to. Nude photographs, including drawings or images. They can't have access to that. Photographs, including drawings and images depicting actual or simulated sexual acts by one or more persons. These include photographs in the publication sent directly from the publisher or a vendor authorized by the facility. So even if the facility authorizes a vendor or a publication to bring literature to them, they still can't send that type of literature to the inmates. I found that very interesting. Why is it that our prison system won't allow this stuff? Inmates have access to this stuff, but yet we want to have our children have access to this stuff. Another thing, the 5th District Federal Court just had an interesting ruling on a library issue.
No, it's not. He has 2 minutes, and you just took away some of his time, and I'll give it back to you.
Thank you. The 5th District Court, Federal District Court, had a case involving Lino County, Texas, where this exact issue went all the way to the 5th District Court. And they actually ruled that you cannot keep libraries from removing books in any way, shape, or form. It does not fall under the First Amendment. They said, we consider whether someone may challenge a public library's removal of books as violating the free speech clause. It says, patrons of a county library in Texas sued the librarian and other officials alleging they removed 17 books because of their treatment of racial and sexual themes. The district court ruled that defendants abridged plaintiff's right to receive information under the free speech clause and ordered books returned to the shelves. On appeal, a divided panel of our court affirmed in part, we grant and back rehearing. We now reverse the preliminary injunction and render judgment dismissing the free speech claims. We do so for 2 separate reasons. I will finish at the next public time.
You only get one public time.
Oh, you have just one? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, the court ruled that you're
Brings us to unfinished business. First one is the proposed motion language for bylaw, amendments regarding the Pledge of Allegiance and prayer. This is for discussion only. We will vote on it at the next meeting. In your packet, you will see the language for it. Is there any discussion?
That's for the allegiance and prayer. Here it is. I couldn't find it. At previous board meetings, or last board meeting, we had some discussions on this. Asked that they be voted on separately. Will this allow that, the way it's written?
No, this is together. This, John D'Angelis was the one that requested this, and he requested that they be together. If the board, if you prefer, you can make a motion to separate them, and we can vote on that as a board.
The way this is written, they got bylaw amendment 2025-1 and 2025-2.
Yes, and it's all in the same motion.
I would like to make a motion that they be voted on as separate items.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll do a roll call vote. John? No. Are you, okay, Peggy?
No.
Carol?
No.
Please reread the motion.
Want me to read the whole motion?
Yes, what are we voting on?
Was in your packet?
Read it, please.
Are we talking about the motion he made or the proposed amendment?
The motion that I made was that amendment 2025-1 and the motion 2025-2 be voted on as separate items, which would agree with what we agreed upon at a previous meeting, that they would be separate items to be voted on.
So we're doing a roll call vote, Bonnie, are you a yes or a no for that?
No.
Motion failed, it'll go forward as on the same, or is it, yeah. Okay, moves us to policy F.
I have more discussion in regards to
He
the
gave
pledge.
time for discussion.
You made a motion and then you said,
And then I said, is there discussion?
I didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
okay, I'll do it later then.
No, we can discuss it.
Okay, I have something that I'd like to pass to board members. Some information that I looked up. It's all available on the internet. So the first thing I looked up was, I wanted to know what cities in Michigan had about the same population as Lapeer. So it says first page, several Michigan cities have populations similar to Lapeer. Based on recent rankings, Charlotte, Plymouth, Saline are within close range of Lapeer's population. With that in mind, the next page was how they were ranked Michigan cities. The first one was Alma, down through Howell Township. Lapeer City was near the top. The next page was a previous page of other cities in Michigan that had approximately the same population. The reason I'm pointing this out is the very next 2 pages. I just went through randomly and picked some libraries throughout the state. And I wrote down the names of 80 libraries in Michigan. And I put the city, the name of the library in the city, and I looked at the minutes that are available online. And what I wanted to know is who says the pledge and who says a prayer. So out of 80 libraries that I looked at, different sizes, Detroit's on there, Flint, Traverse City, Grand Rapids. I mean, I tried to go big, large, whatever. Out of 80 libraries in Michigan, 9 said the pledge, 0 said a prayer, and 2 of the libraries had a moment of silence. One of them was Detroit, and that was in honor of a former board member that had passed away. And the other moment of silence was in Pontiac. It didn't list the reason, it just had that at the beginning of the minutes. So in Michigan, there's 397 library systems. So I did 80 libraries, that's about 20% of the libraries in Michigan. So I just wanted to compare. I wanted people in the audience to be aware. I wanted our board members to be aware of what is going on right now in the state. I can look them all up if somebody wants me to, but I think that it's important that all viewpoints be given for this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any more discussion in regards to the pledge and prayer bylaw amendment?
I have a biggest problem with the prayer. If you think that the prayer is going to help do anything with the library, I think you're totally nuts. All you have to do is look at Congress and the federal government. They say their prayer before every meeting, and they are told dysfunctional board or accomplishment. I don't feel that prayer needs to be put into our library system. I'll leave it at that.
Any more discussion? Okay, civil discourse, practice of discussing public matters in a respectful and constructive manner aimed at expanding knowledge and promoting understanding, engaging with different opinions while maintaining mutual respect and openness. Just wanted to make that clear. Is there any more discussion? Next, old business, we have search firms. We need to decide on a search firm for a new director at this meeting. There were 3 in your packet. We have Summit HR, we have their potential contract, we have Pivot. Pivot was used for the last director. We have their old contract in there which states what their guarantee is. I know that there was discussion that Pivot Group would do it would find us a replacement for free. I'm just going to read their guarantee because it was said that it was going to be for free. It's not for free. Upon appointment of a candidate, Pivot Group provides the following guarantee. Should the selected and appointed candidate, at the request of the client or the employee's own determination, leave the employment of the client within the first 12 months of appointment, we will, if desired, conduct 1 additional recruitment, meaning they'll only provide us with 1 candidate. Billing the client for the cost of expenses and announcements only. This request must be made within 3 months of the employee's departure. So that's Pivot's guarantee for us. Then we also have Yale and Yale, the talent acquisition support for the library director. We have their contract that they've proposed to us. And then we also have Summit HR and their contract that they proposed.
Can I ask a question about Summit?
Sure.
The other 2, the information about the other 2 organizations, it says they're both from Michigan. Where is Summit located?
Summit is based out of California, but they're nationwide. But their headquarters in California. And I don't remember what city. I'd like to make a motion.
Before you make a motion, on the Pivot, the way I read it is they will conduct 1 additional recruitment. That is supposed to be a complete looking for a director, not just 1 person. And as far as cost goes, the cost is free with 1 exception. Anything that and it's pretty much the same in the others, for advertising only. I talked to James and he said the cost of that would probably never go even close to $1,000. So you're looking at most $1,000 that it may cost us for a complete recruitment from Pivot.
Within 3 months. What is she doing?
The Summit HR one is also not for a director. It says Lapeer Library District Manager. It's on the 2nd page at the very top.
Yeah. They also didn't give us much information on their company as far as what they've done, who would be doing it.
I talked to them, it was probably 3 months ago since I talked to them, and I explained that we're looking for a director. Asked them if they've ever done that. They do mostly municipal appointments. And they do a lot of work in Michigan. Like I said, they're based out of California. That's all I remember. I don't even remember the rep's name at the moment, to be honest with you.
It would have been nice if they would have put it in their paperwork.
Yeah.
Any more discussion? Do we have any cost analysis from both of these other organizations?
They show their cost in, Yo and Yo is somewhere between, I think, 6,500 and 9,500, depending on which one you want to go.
Page 13. Yeah, I see. And what about Summit? They're 6,500.
Well, Summits it says that it's 20% of the total.
But
What is that? 20% of total salary for any other executive position hired.
That's 20% for other executive positions hired, so I think frankly that ought to be struck out of there. I don't, it's ambiguous about we're gonna use them for something else, we're only using them if you chose them for this particular person.
the pivot would be probably a maximum of $1,000.
Actually, it's past the 3 months, so.
Pardon?
It's past the 3 months.
But the first page of the pivot one does say, we provide a 1-year placement guarantee. For any reason the chosen candidate does not work out during the first year on the job, we will redo the search at no cost to the library.
And I talked to James and they're ready to start.
Okay. Any more discussion?
I'll make a motion and we go back to pivot. I think they did a great job on the research and finding a director the last time. And it's not their fault that she only lasted 7 months. I blame that on members of the board.
Wow, Terry.
And it also chased away Amy. So, and the cost would be less for the library.
Since there's 3,
There needs to be support.
there needs to be support. Is there support? I'll support it. Now we can move to discussion. I was just thinking maybe a better way to do it since there's 3 firms.
Can you use the microphone, please? We can't hear you.
Well, we have a motion on the floor, so we'll deal with that motion, and then after that, we can either move on or go back to the drawing board. So, any more discussion on hiring the pivot group? Seeing none, we'll go to a vote. Roll call vote. John?
No.
No. Carol? No. Bonnie? Yes.
Yes.
Motion failed. Okay, so.
I'd like to make a motion that we hire Summit.
Okay. I'll support. Peggy supports. Is there any discussion?
No, I'd like to make a comment. If you go with them, I would suggest 2 changes to their contract.
Okay.
One is to change the wording from manager to director, position.
Yes.
And the second one is on the first page, it refers to their job or whatever. Part of it is candidate screening and assessment through interviews. I would like to replace that with candidate information collection.
Okay.
Where are they located?
California.
So much for keeping it in Michigan.
Yeah. Thanks for nothing.
Is there any more discussion?
We would need to amend the motion if you're going to have those changes.
Okay, you want to amend your motion?
I'd like to amend those motions with information collection
On the first page,
on the first page, and also making it a directive.
and also striking out the 20% salary.
Correct.
So I have to second that. Is there a second to the amendment? I'll second that. Any more discussion? I'll do a roll call vote. John?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Bonnie?
No.
Carrie?
No.
Motion carried. We will be hiring the Summit HR with the corrections to their agreement.
Put yourself down as a yes.
Okay, moving on to new business. We have the budget amendment to budget line contractual services.
So this is the budget amendment that was handed out today. We needed to make sure that we weren't getting any more bills to add to it. So our budget line for the attorney for the year is $4,000, and currently we owe $14,480.53. So the chair will need to make a motion to what budget line that should be paid out of.
Well, seeing as on the audit, we have quite a lot left over.
Right, we just need to know what budget line to move it from.
Well, what line was Foster Swift coming from? They had their own.
The attorney line, yep.
Well, which one do you have the most left over out of?
Well, that's not how the budget works. So the budget, like the 2025 budget, is not left over yet because it hasn't ended. So you need to move something from budget line in 2025 to the attorney budget line. So we did do the budget. I mean, I can go back and look and see what has the most in it right now, but that won't be until that's for all of 2025. So we'll also need to know how much to move to it, because like I said, it's completely depleted right now. So it's $4,000 a year, and we currently owe $14,480.
Well, I don't have the full, I mean.
Oh, yeah, it is highlighted on here, the LDL contracted attorney, so that's under contractual services. So 12 months, $400 a month, $4,000 a year. And because of the large amount of movement, it has to be a budget amendment.
Well, I don't have is the full budget?
It would be this.
This one?
Your June budget.
For June?
Yeah. Yeah, the most money in contingencies.
You said contingencies, Terry?
Yeah, 305,000 in contingencies.
Well, then I would move it out of contingencies.
So how much needs to be moved?
We'll go to 20,000.
So that will cover the 1,400, so
And then
we'll
we'll
have
have
6,000.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
That requires action, so do I have a motion to move 20,000 from contingencies into the attorney?
I'll make a motion to move 20,000 from the contingencies to the attorney line.
budget.
Support.
Carol supports. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. Lapeer Library owned property discussion. So, Carol, you were the one that brought that up? That was my question. I'd like to know if the library still owns the property that they bought from the city of Lapeer back in 2017,
Oh, the what?
the 8.5 acres.
Yes, we still own that.
And, what's the plan for that? Is there a plan for that?
It's up for the board to decide.
Hopefully to build a new library at some point in time.
Or sell it?
I don't know what the agreement was. We'd have to look to see what it was when we bought it from Lapeer City. I think they have first option to get it back for them.
Okay, and my second question for that is there a map for that?
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Be a legal description.
Yeah. If I come to the office, Kara, can I get a copy of that, please? Okay, so
I can email it to you too if you want.
Pardon?
I can email it to you too if you want.
Okay, that would be fine. Is there any more discussion?
Well, since you're emailing it to Carol, can you email it to me or the full board?
Full board.
I just am curious why you want to get rid of it.
Well,
If we were to decide to build at some point in the future, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the road, you've already got property, who knows what the cost of property will be in that extended period of time. So I'm just curious.
I didn't say we would sell it.
No, I
said
just
that's
wondered
an
why you
option.
would.
And one thing we keep hearing is cuts coming down from the federal government on libraries, so in case we need to.
Is there any more discussion? Okay, seeing none. So it's, we want to discuss the change in time of the meeting. I'm gonna add these two together because they kind of go together. Discussion of change time of meeting to 5 o'clock and then the financial meeting to 4 o'clock. Or the change of library meeting to a different day, first Monday of the month, second Tuesday, or the third Thursday at 10 a.m. It's up for discussion.
Why are we just wanting to move it to 5?
I have a meeting right after this one, and I'm always late to it. So if we start a half an hour earlier, maybe I can make it on time. It's only half an hour. And you already changed the finance meeting to 4 instead of 4:30.
I'm just thinking if people in the public that maybe work, 5:30 would be a better time if the public want to sit in on a meeting.
A lot of people in the public work in afternoons too, and some boards do, they do an alternate morning and evening just to open it up to more people, but, yeah.
We used to have meetings, I believe they were at 11 o'clock on Thursdays in the morning, and we changed it to 5:30 when we were going for the bond proposals, if my memory is correct, so that the general public would have an opportunity to come to the meetings, because no one ever came in the morning hours. So even thinking about 10 o'clock in the morning to me would be crazy. You gotta keep it in the evening.
Well, I've been talking to the American Legion about renting their place, especially for the wintertime. I mean, they even have heat there. It's really great. When it rains, it doesn't leak. It's incredible, that place. And it's cheaper, it's $100 a month. And unfortunately, in our time spot, they have the Young Marines every single Thursday for the whole year. So that's why we're looking at different times, different dates and all that. And one of the dates available was 10 a.m. on their Thursdays. We're still gonna keep it on Thursday. You know, they had that spot open. I'm not sure if they had just, other people were throwing dates out, like the first Monday and the second Tuesday, and I don't know about that, but I am kind of anxious to get out of here.
Amen. What are we paying here?
$106.
What?
$160.
a month.
He just said 160.
Aren't you paying $160 for this place?
100.
Okay.
Thank you.
It was for me.
They brought it down?
And we have paid for the full year.
I have other meetings on the first Monday and the second Tuesday. I don't on the third Thursday.
Think about how we all froze in the winter months.
I am not disputing that one bit. It was cold in here.
We can talk with them.
But we can talk to them about that if we continue to stay here. But I don't think there should be a change right now, because I think 5:30 is better for the public. It's better for being transparent with the public. And if we go to a morning meeting, we'll probably get the same like we had before, almost zero representation of the public. And to me, that's not being transparent with them.
How do you feel about alternating the time? Because there are
What do you
some
mean
people
by
that
alternating
can't
the time?
make meetings. A lot of people have.
Like, for example,
Kids have
Peggy's
kids.
Township has a morning one week, and do they have how many a month?
Just one month.
One a month, and they alternate them, so people work afternoons can go.
And
On the
people have
opposite one.
after school, they have kids that are in after school activities. There's a lot of things that keep people away in the evenings.
I don't know. I
Just a
think
thought.
that gets confusing for everybody.
I don't know if we'd be able to have it here at 10 a.m. either.
I'm sorry, what?
I don't know if we'd be able to have it here at 10 a.m. So you
Oh.
have it at
I
two
was
different
hoping to get out of
locations.
here myself. And that's what brought all this up, is the Young Marines were every Thursday at 5:30, at 5 o'clock actually, so you couldn't get it then. So that's when we started looking at different dates, different times.
Maybe we could look at another place besides the American Legion, if it's difficult. I don't know of any other place around there, but around here, there must be some other place that we could ask as well, or we can.
Yes.
No, I don't.
Is there any more discussion on that?
I could find out.
I just want to reinstate, I'd like it at 5 o'clock. Only half an hour.
The other thing with that is that I do work until 5, and we'd have to close one of our admin building early in order to come over. Because I have to be here at least 25 minutes to set up. So that's a public building, just like all of our branches.
I think we should just do more discussion next month. Maybe everybody can try to find a different place in Lapeer. That would be
Yeah, why don't we just table it
to do that.
for a month and see whatever the dates are available. You know, we know Mr. Denny, the days that are bad for him.
Okay, next, the Director Search Ad Hoc Committee members.
Do you already need the proposed amendment bylaws?
The what? Oh,
That's under change, it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 point down.
Oh, I see it.
Can he read that? Because I'm having trouble finding it.
Pardon?
Can you read out what it is that you want to propose?
Proposals.
Okay, I'm forming the Director Search Ad Hoc Committee. And on that committee, we're gonna put John DeAngelis, Peggy Brodsky, Carol Brown. I did ask at the last meeting if any other board members had any interest in being on these boards, and I didn't receive anything except from these three, and then also John Van Wagner from the public. So do I have a motion for this ad hoc committee for the director search?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion?
Who was the fourth person?
John Van Wagner? He's on the school board. Okay, any more discussion?
A question, looking at last month's minutes, when did you ask about anybody else that might want to be?
I did say that I was going to be forming them, and if anybody had any interest. If it wasn't in the meeting minutes, then it wasn't reported.
It wasn't at the April meeting, it was at the March meeting.
It was at the March meeting?
And Bonnie wasn't
Okay,
here
I
at the
wasn't
March
here.
meeting.
I'd
She
like to
didn't
be
know
on
that.
the committee for some.
Okay.
I didn't know, so
Yeah,
I
she
thought
wasn't
you
at
talked
the
about it.
March
Well, this is the proposed motion for these four, or this is what I'm proposing
Right,
is these
that's the
four.
motion.
Is there
How
a
many
motion?
have to be on the committee?
3.
3? Is there a maximum amount?
It can't go over 3 because it would be considered a quorum.
It's only one.
3 board,
There's 4 board.
4 board
Four
members,
board
so it can
members,
be any other
Yeah, so that's what she's saying, that
person,
she,
just not another board member.
Okay.
So is there a motion to form this ad hoc committee?
I'll make a motion.
On that, yeah, committee, as I stated.
I'll second it.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Opposed?
No.
Motion carried. Next is going to be for an ad hoc committee for the bylaws and policies. Those need to be reviewed, make sure that our policies, we've already found one discrepancy and had to change policy on. So I'd like to form this committee just so that they can go through our policies and our bylaws to make sure that we're obeying the Michigan Constitution as well as the U.S. Constitution. So on that board, Peggy Brodsky, Carol Brown, John DeAngelis, Kelly Bales, and Bill Hamilton.
Who was the last one? I'm sorry.
Bill Hamilton.
And how are we supposed to get on that committee?
It was the same.
Pardon?
In March, I had asked for people that wanted to be on it.
A little late, sorry. Wasn't
I mean,
here.
they are on the other committees, so could we let at least Perry or Bonnie be on that committee?
I've already made these ones, so if one of the other ones are willing to give up their spot, then that would be up to them.
Name the committee.
If John or Peggy or Carol, would you want to give up your spot?
No.
What are the, who are the people on there again?
Peggy, Carol, John, Kelly Bales, and Bill Hamilton.
Okay.
Motion?
I'll make a motion to form the ad hoc committee as stated by you. Peggy Brodsky, Carol Brown, John DeAngelis, Kelly Bales, and Bill Hamilton.
Support? Support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Opposed?
Motion carried. Board comments.
I'll start. I apologize, but I do have somewhere to be, so I'm gonna have to leave. Okay, that's all I have to say.
I have a question in regards to if we're unable to make it to a meeting, who do we notify? Do we notify somebody at the administration, or you, or both, or what?
Yeah, me and Carrie, yeah.
Okay. Because that was never told to me, so.
Any other board members have a comment?
I'd like to comment on Child Advocacy Center that.
So we use the microphone, please, so we can hear you.
I'd like to comment on the Child Advocacy Center that some of us went to. It was very interesting, very informative. Out of all the 7 members, I think there was only 2 board members that went. But it was very good. 3? Sorry, Jen. Also want to say, you know, the board's trying to get things done, and you guys keep bringing up all this old stuff. We're not doing it, you are. You're continuing this. So my question is why, and would you please stop?
Any other board members?
Good evening, Brian Cloutier, resident of the district, and yes, I'm a librarian. Mr. Valley, Ms. Lawrence, let them crash this train. They're doing a fine job on their own. You don't need to be part of it. Obviously, you don't want you part of it. Not to mention, if they had kept an attorney that actually was experienced in library law, you probably would have saved about $4,000 on this last bill. I can't understand why we are paying a lawyer to school himself on library law when we have the highest respected library law attorney in the state. Wait a minute, it's because she told you what you needed to hear, not what you wanted to hear. This is crazy.
Good evening, my name is Melissa Malcolm. I live in Davison, but I was director of the library district for 9 years until September of 2020. I looked at the library board job description today, and one of the statements was, it's about the library, not about you. Your job is to provide the highest quality library service possible for your community. From what I've seen and heard, John has repeatedly said that his goal is to be sure that the future library millage never passes. He repeated this at the Tea Party meeting just a few months ago as a library board member. Peggy is involved with the Concerned Citizens of Lapeer County, the group that took responsibility for the threatening letters that Mary Cowles and others received and thus led to her resignation. She loved her job. She did not want to leave. Peggy also, at that Tea Party meeting, stated that the librarians didn't really know which books they were getting. She thought that maybe the American Library Association sent them. Really? You are both library board members, so should know what you're talking about before you're caught on video spreading untruths. I would really appreciate hearing your motives for wanting to be appointed to the library board and the goals you have for our district library. And right now, you need a library director to take care of the staff, and yet you canceled last month's board meeting, delaying the search and the hiring of a new director, although I'm not sure who in heck is going to want to come here. And please, in front of me, never say that you want to sell a property. It took tons of work for the board and me to look for it, to make our charts about which was the best spot. And frankly, there aren't a lot of empty places in Lapeer for a new library, and eventually there will be one. If we had a library, a new one, we wouldn't need to be in this ridiculous hall because we'd have a meeting room that was big enough to take care. The other thing I would like to say is that one of the reasons also that I wanted a later board meeting at 5:30 or later was that we don't have young people with children sitting up here right now on the board because they're working or whatever. It's much more important for us to represent the demographics of our community, and that means young people who may be working and can only come at night. And the last thing I want to say is that the policy discrepancy with the public time, I believe, was correct when it was originally placed on the website. It was changed by Amy because you all know what she was dealing with when she came to a board meeting. I would like to say that all of the policies, I'm pretty sure, were written by Ann Sorik, who is a library attorney and knows exactly what she's doing. So you may be wasting time and money to try to go through and change them again. Thank you.
will try to be brief. Robert Thomas, been an attorney in Lapeer for 50 years. I first went to the library in 1956. I have been using that library for many years. My late wife worked there for 14 years. My aunt was a librarian for the state of Missouri. She was a children's librarian for the state of Missouri many years ago. Just a couple comments. It should be noted that Mr. Mass is not a resident of the district, of the Lapeer Library District. Second, he talked about what the restrictions are in prisons. Remember, everybody that's in prison is a convicted felon. None of us are convicted. We have all our rights. And lastly, if you have prayer, and I am a devoted Christian, both my grandfathers were ordained ministers. Are we talking about Christian prayer? Are we talking about Islamic prayer? Are we talking about Jewish prayer? Are we talking about Sikh prayer? All those are represented in Congress. Are we just talking about conservative Christian prayer? The bishop of the Protestant Episcopal Church was basically slammed by the president because she dared to pray for Christians. That is all I have to say.
Susan Huff, I live in Lapeer County and in the Library District. Access to a public library is one of the essential ways Americans have to exercise their First Amendment right to information. And library board members have a duty to protect that right within the library they oversee. In their service as trustees, their duty is not to themselves, not to their religion, not to their political ideologies, not to the community at large, but to the First Amendment and to protecting our public libraries. So, how does saying a ritual pledge composed by a socialist salesman as part of a marketing scheme to sell flags and magazine subscriptions protect our library? How does praying loudly in public, like a Pharisee, by an individual board member who shouldn't be acting unilaterally for a library that doesn't have a religion, protect our library? How does changing the meeting time to make it more difficult for citizens to exercise their right to attend an open public meeting when the person who needs that time changed actively sought this position and knew what time the meeting occurs? How does that protect our library? How does replacing the library's specialized lawyer with a generalist who has to research every question, billing the library for learning what the previous lawyer already knew, and more than tripling the annual budget for legal costs in the first half of the year, protect our library? John, I hope you're enjoying that. The ideologues on this board are either incompetent or they have an agenda that puts their personal ideologies ahead of protecting our public library. They're creating a hostile environment for our library professionals and threatening the library's ability to hire and retain top-notch staff. They're writing their own fiction, crafting stories about dangers in our library, stories filled with inaccuracies and missing information, but loaded with sensationalized sexual outrage about explicit illicit content and librarian rumors intended to divide the community. And Carol, if you're wondering why we're still saying these things, look at the Foster Swift memo that was written for this board. Look at the bill from your attorney and look at the itemized details on what he's been researching. Whether it's a culture war agenda or its incompetence is going to become apparent very quickly in the next few months as we watch this board. In the meantime, Keep the Gospel of Matthew 7:15 in your mind. Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves.
Anybody else in public comment?
Well, it's been a long Monday for me, and I think my dog is dying, and I just want to address some things. Susan said the search firm, first of all, one of them had a tiered pricing. It's very complicated, very hard to understand. It wasn't comparing apples to apples. The other search firm had a limit on when they would relook for a director at no cost. So there were some loopholes there. As far as the cost of the attorney, my very first board meeting, I had the director from the Oxford Library stand up, shake his glasses at us, and tell us, I'm watching you. You took an oath to the Constitution, and I'm lawyered up, and I'm watching you. So are we being a little more careful than the previous board? Probably. Some of the fees came from adjusting the public time policy. There were some things in there that were unconstitutional. Our lawyer noticed it, recommended that we change it, so we did. Many, many hours are FOIAs, and they are from you, Susan, many of the FOIAs. My emails, before I even became a board member, were FOIA'd. Any email that I sent to library staff for like 2.5 years. Now, that takes some time to research and try to find those emails. So I had a long conversation with the attorneys trying to figure out, like, well, who did you send emails to? I don't know. So a lot of that cost is FOIAs. As far as the numbers that you're comparing our cost to, I've seen the invoice from the lawyers to the library. It's very detailed, but the numbers that you're using to compare it to from previous years, there's dates and numbers. I mean, I can't verify those numbers. I'm not sure how you're verifying the numbers. So if you want to compare the cost, like how much more it's costing, you should probably provide some background on where you're getting those numbers from. As far as my, before I became a board member, yes, I did speak out on some books. And for someone who fights so hard for freedom of speech, I also have a right to freedom of speech. Everybody does. And if I think there's a couple books that I wanted to speak out about, then I did, and I had every right to do so. But as a board, I'm here every month reporting to you guys on what the board is doing. There have been no agenda items for moving, restricting anything. I've been called a Nazi, I've been called a racist, I've gotten horrible emails from people saying that I want to target books of a certain viewpoint. That is not true, that is not me. I do not wish that at all. And I'm a little tired of every meeting. Another reason the fees are probably more than they should be is because our attorney comes to the meetings, and our meetings are super long. They're longer than any other meetings that I've been to in the past, and so that's another expense. And there's a lot of public comments, which everybody has a right to do, but there's just a lot of huffing and puffing, like a big bad wolf trying to blow the house down, and there's no freaking pig inside. Like, we're not doing that. So you want to get up and keep talking? Keep talking, keep talking. That's more money, that's more money. And I'm sorry, like I said, I tried to keep it positive, but I'm done.
Anybody else in public time?
Since I was personally named, may I just take a moment to respond?
We're going to keep you to 3 minutes, so.
No problem, thank you. I would point out that the attorney who recommended the changes to the public comment policy was Ann Suring, the previous library law attorney. So I doubt that it took very long to correct those issues. I would also like to point out that the reason I have this information is because I have FOIA'd this information, which is, again, something that we are able to do as citizens in the community. And I am sorry that there are board members who feel that it's a personal attack on their rights, and I'm sure they therefore understand why others feel so personal about this as well. But I have personally no animosity towards any of the board members. I am concerned about our First Amendment rights. So thank you very much.
Anybody else?
Well, I've been to some of the library board meetings, and the abuse that those board members have taken at the mouths of a fight for the first part of the group they're calling themselves. It's been appalling. They call them Nazis, they call them all kinds of stuff, and they don't deserve it. They're just trying to do their job. Some of these people complaining here tonight don't even live here in this township, so as a resident of this township, their opinions are relevant to our township business, but they have been treated, those board members have been treated horribly. I've witnessed it. So for them to be here and act all indignant is a little ridiculous, but they also should know that this same group is fighting to keep sexualized books in the hands of children, just so you know. If you look up some of the books that are available in libraries that they advocate to be in the hands of children, our county prosecutor said that this kind of material can affect children's development, their mental faculties. I mean, it's disturbing information that some people want to keep in the hands of children. It's really sick and disgusting, frankly. You guys ought to go visit the library and check out, look at some of these materials. It's reprehensible. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Brings us to additions, deletions, and approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Yes, I would like to make a motion to add, under new business, discussion of a packet that's been circulating around Lapeer. I think the board and the public should be made aware of it, and the message is being presented. I feel it warrants discussion.
And you have that packet?
I thought I think it might be in my car. I can just, I was going to share the front page with you guys, but I can discuss what's in it.
Oh, okay. And you said you
most
wanted...
of the stuff the board has already seen. So.
And you want to add that to new business?
New business, yeah.
And it's discuss
a packet that's being created to Lapeer municipality.
Can you speak up, please?
Yeah, we can't hear.
We can't hear you.
Okay. So we're adding to the agenda, discuss a packet being distributed. That is a request to be added. Are there any more additions or deletions? We have the approval of the minutes of the June 19th regular meeting.
I have an issue with that.
Okay.
I'll use the microphone. Can it reach down here? My issue with the minutes is on the second page, budget amendment contractual services. In addition to what's already in there, I need it to be noted in the record that the budget amendment was not presented to the board until the board meeting, didn't come in the packet. In fact, the packet didn't come until the next week after our meeting. That's an issue for that one. And then library-owned property, which is right underneath there. I'll slow down so you can get it, Mrs. Secretary.
My name's Jan.
Okay, Jan. Library-owned property says, discussion held among board members of the advantages and disadvantages of selling the library-owned vacant property. No motion made by the board. I'm the one who brought that up. We did not discuss advantages and disadvantages. I just wanted to know where the property was, how much it was paid for it, and what the plan for it was. I said something about selling it. We did not discuss anything about selling it among the board members, so I'd like that changed to say, discussion held among board members of the selling of the discussion held among board members of the library-owned vacant property, period. No, take out advantages and disadvantages of selling. That wasn't discussed.
These notes do go through the attorney and the board chair first, after
I know.
them. So
But I'm not going to accept them as written.
I need to ask a question. Do these changes need to go through them first?
Well, they have to go through the board.
Well, yeah, I can make a motion to
So is there
amend
any
that.
discussion about taking that out?
Seeing no discussion, I guess we
Okay.
can vote on it.
Well, we have other stuff, and then we'll vote on it as a whole. And you wanted added to the budget amendment contractual services that the packet, or
The
that,
budget amendment contractual service packet was not given to the board until the meeting, June meeting, and the June packet, it was not even included in the packet, and we got an explanation, I understand, but we didn't get our packets.
Yeah, we'll have, maybe I can discuss that later. The mail has been, as Bonnie brought up, has been really bad with getting the packets out there, so we've discussed kind of what we can do, so I can talk about that.
They do come electronically.
I'm sorry,
Yeah, they do.
They do come electronically.
Yeah, we have a
I know
solution.
it's not the same.
Right.
Is this a meeting, or are we just all gonna talk?
She's administration, that's why she's talking. Priority mail works really good.
We do, I think, so what we have done in the past, do you mind if I talk now, or do you want me to save it?
Go ahead.
The only reason we started mailing these out was during COVID. Before then, they were only given electronically and picked up at admin. So honestly, that is the best way to get you a printed copy. We can mail them out. It's very hard to come a couple days before a meeting and say I don't have a packet, because it does take time for us to copy everything and get it in there. I would say if we wanted to go back to that they are all sent electronically, and then if you want a printed copy, we can have you a printed copy ready at admin. I can mail them out, we can. There's no guarantee they're gonna get there. As Bonnie said in hers, she didn't get hers until July 2nd.
I got mine then too.
Yeah.
So did I. But priority mail would also solve
They
that.
do, but that gets, I mean, we can send those out there. It'll be very expensive because the packets
$9 a
are
packet.
pretty big. Yeah. So we can go through afterwards. I'll send out email and see who would rather
Okay.
pick theirs up or who wants it sent by mail. Again, if the mail doesn't go out, it doesn't. That's the hard part about that, but.
And if it's all right with everybody, we can just change the library-owned property discussion held among board members regarding selling the library-owned vacant property.
No, take out the word selling.
What's that?
We didn't discuss selling it,
Okay.
so the word
Regarding,
after.
okay, how about just regarding the library-owned vacant property? Would that
I
suffice?
think that sounds fine.
Okay, I will just change it to that so we don't have to add it to our list.
Thank you.
You really can't do that. Once they're draft minutes, the board has to vote on the change
Okay,
to the
well,
draft.
no, to approve, so we
Yeah,
can
the board has
approve.
to vote on the draft change.
Right.
Yeah, because it's
I
part of
think
the
we were gonna, I think
consent agenda.
she might have, maybe she was gonna wait until we go ahead, I don't know, before she changed it.
Will you read the second one again about the property, the sentence that you're gonna?
The sentence would read, discussion held among board members regarding a library-owned vacant property. No motion was made by the board on the matter.
Thank you.
Okay. And
I was just slowly making my way up.
Good afternoon. I'm an LDL patron and regular attendee at these board meetings. I would like to begin by saying that I oppose adding prayer to the LDL bylaws. I believe Adding, I believe, the 4 fundamentalist board members are forcing their personal religious ritual onto a secular public institution and making citizens who do not share their religious beliefs participate or feel unwelcome. If you have guests at your private home, you can ask your guests to pray with you, but this is a shared public meeting. It is not your home and it is not your church. You do not own the library and you do not own the board. The LDL serves all the citizens of Lapeer, including Jews, Muslims, Taoists, Hindus, Shintos, Wiccas, indigenous worshipers, agnostics, and atheists. I've heard board members complain that they are not respected by the public. Do you have respect for non-Christians in the county? Or is your attitude literally that non-Christians who do not share your beliefs are going to hell? After banning LGBTQ+ books, are you going after the Talmud, the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, the Tao Te Ching, the Nihon Shoki, and other non-Christian sacred texts? Please remember, the United States was founded on the principle of religious freedom and the separation of church and state. We live in a democracy, not a theocracy. I also want to address the board majority's attempt to move these meetings from the evenings to earlier in the day. Clearly, this change is intended to make it more difficult for library supporters who work, especially the LDL's core supporters, including educators, librarians, degree professionals, and working parents from attending. The book banning board majority, to paraphrase Carol Brown, would like the public to just let them do what they want to do. We love our library system. We love that it strives to serve all the citizens of the county. We are not afraid of education or knowledge or our fellow readers, including LGBTQ+ people and African American citizens. Can the book banning majority say the same? I don't think so, and your attacks on books representing these communities shows us so. That's why we're here speaking out, to save our books, to save our community, and to save our library system. Making library board meetings less accessible to the public so you can mold the LDL collection to meet your fundamentalist beliefs is bureaucratic, underhanded, and cowardly, and I really don't think it will work. I hope citizens of Lapeer County will continue to speak out and defend our freedom to read. Thank you.
On a different issue, it's estimated that there are 10,000 faiths or religions in the world. Of the religions considered Christian, it is estimated that there are over 45,000 denominations. If you just consider the major branches of the Christian denominations, that number would be at least 46. As a government board, why do you believe that you have the right to impose your specific narrow representation of Christianity on all of us? If you're going to have prayer, you need to represent all faiths of this community.
The Pledge of Allegiance is patriotic, prayer is religious, they are not mutually inclusive. I hope when you go to church, you demand that the Pledge of Allegiance be said, yet prayer and Pledge of Allegiance belong together here, they belong together in church also. And last month, Truman Mass compared what prison inmates cannot see with the public library. Those are two apples and oranges. He also did not mention how the rule is enforced. And did all of a sudden inmates start behaving better because they couldn't see those things? I'm sure they still see them plenty of times. And I also want to reiterate that the library is to provide information for its whole service area. Librarians do not advocate, as somebody said at the Lapeer Township meeting, books. I worked in the children's department for years. If somebody wanted a book on puberty, we would take them to the shelf and say, here they are, and let them look at it. All the years that I worked there, parents would say to your children, no, you can't take that book out. It is the parents' responsibility, not the librarians, and it is not the library's job to make it harder for some patrons to get the book they want than other patrons.
Hi, my name name's Jacob Leroy. I'm a resident of Mayfield Township. I live at 106 Daly Road. I'm a property owner. I pay taxes to the county and including the Lapeer District Library. I just wanted to say thank you for what you're doing. I support you in your efforts to get the gay sex books out of the library, as well as institute prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance at the board meetings. See a lot of signs here about democracy. I'd like to remind everyone that we have a republic and not a democracy. And we are slowly losing it and getting more democratic tendencies, and I think that's a downfall of our nation. I'd also like to point out that no books are being banned. They're just simply not available in the Lapeer District Library.
That's banning.
People
This
do
is
not
his
have
public time.
People do not have a right to access any book ever made in our public library. It's simply an impossibility for our library to be the Tower of Babel and house every written work ever conceived. So some curation has to be done, and that's up to the board. So again, I support your efforts. Thank you very much.
My name is Heidi Wade, and I'm from North Branch, and I have to say, I'm really tired of being here trying to protect our freedoms. I think this is ridiculous. The First Amendment reads, Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech. And to kind of keep it simple, stupid, I kind of went with the AI definition. Establishing a religion means for a government to create an official state religion or to give preferential treatment to one religion over others. This can involve enacting laws that favor a particular religion, providing financial support, or actively participating in religious affairs. The Establishment Clause of the First Amendment to the United States Constitution prohibits the U.S. government from establishing a religion. Some individuals may need to give up certain behaviors, possessions, or relationships to align with their religious beliefs. These sacrifices can range from giving up material possessions to abstaining from certain foods or activities, or even distancing themselves from certain people or social groups. So I say to you, why should you impose your religious beliefs on others that may not feel the same as you? Even if you want to take the word of the Bible, there is nothing in the Bible that tells people outside of religion how they're supposed to live. They only tell those that follow that religion. Lastly, I want to say, when we all come together and love and accept others for their differences, we are a better country and world. And let me tell you, at the end of the day, it feels much better to love your neighbor instead of having to disdain for your neighbor. And if I recall, this is one of the commandments that you all have abandoned. Love thy neighbor.
Brings us to the proposed amendment to the bylaws regarding the Pledge of Allegiance and prayer. So,
I'd like to make a motion for us to accept Pledge of Allegiance and prayer before our meeting.
I support.
What's the number on the amendment?
125
I don't have that. 2025-1, 2025-2, and 2025-3.
Do I have a second?
I have a discussion.
Let's do a second
You gotta
first
get
and
a
then we can
second
get
first.
to I support. All right, now we're to discussion.
Under Article 4, Section 5 would be amended, and it has a listing of agenda order. I would like to take that out. I don't think that needs to be in there.
We
can't
can,
vote it that way,
we can't vote. There's a motion on the floor to approve this. We can't have.
Can't break it down per 1, 2, and 3?
I mean, you can, but you have to vote on it and
The bylaws, a bylaw change can only be changed if that version was presented to the board at the previous meeting. So the only version that can be approved tonight is the version that's on the floor. if it's changed, it has to come back for another meeting.
Can I ask your reasoning? Yeah.
I just don't think that needs to be part of the bylaws, how meetings run.
Well, I think that can be something that maybe the Policies and Bylaws Committee can address.
That's another thing.
They can address that there.
So
Are you on that?
I am on that committee, and so my recommendation is wait until the Policy and Bylaw Committee gives their recommendation to vote on this. Although I don't want to prolong some of it. Just number 3.
Okay, is there any more
What do you mean number 3?
discussion?
This third one, addition to order of the agenda. Well, it's not that part, it's not the addition, it's the article, section 5 itself. But because it's in the bylaws, that's why it's worded this way. I'll take my motion or my suggestion back.
I'd just like to add my 2 cents that I still wish that this would have been 2 different motions, one for the pledge, one for the prayer.
I struggle with understanding that, although I respect what you're saying, but in the pledge it says one nation under God, but yet you don't want to pray to God. Can you help me understand why?
Yeah, it's a separation, church and state. Sorry, that's my.
Separate it in the pledge. It's in the Constitution.
The pledge can be one thing, a prayer can be another. I don't think it should be
God
one
is
thing.
God is in the pledge, then it's not.
I'm not going to get into any kind of a religious argument or discussion with him. That's just, I just wanted to, on the record, why I disagree with him.
Okay. Did you want to go, Gary?
I also feel you've got asking for bylaw amendments 2025, 1, 2, and 3. And I don't see why we have to vote for everything that's on here. They should be voted separately, each one of them.
Motion on the floor is for all 3.
I understand that, and I'm giving you my two cents for it, why I can't agree with that.
Okay. Is there any more discussion?
I've heard a couple people from the public say, you Christians, you want to add prayer. Are Christians the only one that prays? I didn't think so. For me, I feel like prayer can be calming and uniting, and that's just my personal belief that that's what it does for me. It's not mandatory, as someone said. You do have the option to not participate, and members of the public, as you saw tonight, have the option to get up and give their prayers. And I've been torn about the decision of having, adding the prayer to the agenda as opposed to it being done during public time. I know that's how the city does it. But the county, they have prayer. It doesn't seem to harm anybody. Nobody seems to complain about it. Lapeer Township, they did used to have it wasn't actually a policy, but they did have a member of Lapeer Township, Janet Adams. She would get up every day and every meeting and say the prayer. She's passed away, and now that's gone away. So I'm leaning more towards having it just a part of our agenda. I know one of the board members said we don't need it. Well, I feel we need it more than ever. And maybe we can find a non-denominational way to pray so that everybody feels comfortable. But again, there's nothing mandatory about it, and just you're welcome to not participate and add your own prayer during public time.
During public time, not overriding whoever's doing the prayer.
Yeah. And I'm more of a private prayer person. I'm not one to usually lead prayer in my home. My husband says it at dinner, and But I do follow along in prayer, and it's very comforting to me, and I feel it's a united thing, and that's my reason for wanting it.
I'm going to make one other note. I wouldn't mind even if this was said as a moment of silence for everyone. If they want to pray themselves, can do that, but it doesn't have to be a public prayer.
I can support that.
I'll give my reasons why I want it, since I haven't. We are a Christian nation. Yes, we do.
No, we're not. I'm sorry, it's not for you guys to participate in our discussion.
We were founded as a Christian nation.
No, we weren't.
Carol,
don't read
You have to be quiet, or you have to leave.
Jefferson's Bible.
Please.
You need to be quiet, or you need to leave.
Next one.
Wouldn't you like that?
Okay.
Remove me then.
As a Christian nation, and it's important to me that we recognize God, respect Him, and ask Him to be present, to help us, give Him wisdom to make good decisions for our library. A lot of our government meetings start with prayer, just because Lapeer City doesn't. I think it's necessary.
Your God's not everybody.
Okay, I'm sorry,
You can't
the
speak.
next person that speaks is going to have to leave. Okay, because we're trying to conduct a meeting, and now you're crossing the line, and now you are violating our policies. If we can't conduct our meeting because of your outburst, then we're going to have to ask you to leave.
I'm done.
Is there any more discussion? Okay, all those, let's do a roll call vote. John?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Yes for me. Bonnie?
No.
Perry?
No.
Motion carried.
Can we hear the private conversation, please?
Okay, next we have the.
Do we need to make note in the minutes if
proposed-
someone leaves?
John, can you
Yeah.
stay? Can you just stay? You can just.
Well, we'll call him back.
It's the police he's calling because of all the disruption, so. We can take a short break while we wait. Can I make a motion for us to take a short break?
Second.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
No, not me.
Okay, next on the agenda. Proposed amendments to the bylaws
On the main section.
for Article 9, Section 4.
Thank you.
Agenda 5, Board Action Article, that's 4, Article 4. Action Article 9, Section 1.
This says
I'm sorry.
6.
Article.
This says 4, this says 6.
Article 6.
Six. Article 9. Carrie, is that right? Article 6 and 9?
Mine says.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry.
it should be, I believe it is.
Okay, the agenda.
I don't have the,
It's wrong in the agenda.
Okay. This was presented at the last meeting. Is there a motion to approve these changes to the, this is to the bylaws?
I'll make a motion that we make these amendments to the bylaws.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, discussion?
Yeah, I'd just like to say that I feel like all three of these additions is really gonna delay the process of any work that our bylaws and policy committee wants to do. We're already really far into, we're already in July and we've just started meeting. So I guess it's really my main objection is that it's just gonna delay any changes that we wanna do.
I don't see why it should delay. Even if these pass, you're gonna go through the bylaws and propose changes anyways.
But isn't your amendment asking that we present it in writing and then the next time we vote on it? And I mean, all the board members.
It's trying to be transparent to the public.
Right. I mean,
Right now, we don't have a very good opinion that the board's being transparent. This will guarantee that we're being transparent, and maybe we have a little more faith from them in the board.
Well, anything that would be a proposed change would come before the full board and would be in front of the public.
And their meetings are open to the public.
I understand
To
that.
go to.
All this is doing is making sure that,
If their meetings are, I'm sorry, do we have to post that if they're open to the public?
That's why they're posted, is because they're open to the
That
public.
last one wasn't posted.
Yeah, it was.
No.
It was posted on.
She made a private reservation in our meeting room.
We had a first meeting with no business. It was to get the board members the information that they needed to start our meetings.
Okay, if it is open to the public, we have to post that in
Didn't
all
you?
of our
I thought you
branches.
did post it.
It was posted. I saw
No,
it.
where? She did a private reservation
On
in
the
our meeting
website.
room.
On the website and then.
That is not a public, we have to post it on paper in all of our branches. I'm sorry I interrupted, I didn't know that one wasn't an
Yeah,
actual.
they are all public.
So, and before, I need to know at least 3 days ahead, so we have to post it 72 hours before the meeting.
Okay.
And I believe if there's an agenda, I have to have that too, to put out 3 days before the meeting. But we can check on that, because I know there's a difference between a special meeting and an ad hoc meeting.
I will double check with our legal counsel and make sure that we are doing everything.
Yeah, but if you just make a reservation or a meeting room, that does not mean, that doesn't even go through me, that goes to a different person completely. So I don't see those reservations, they're considered private reservations, so they don't even show up on our main calendar.
Okay, well, I'll make sure that everything we're supposed to be doing, we are doing.
Okay, sorry, Perry, you continue, I didn't want to.
Any more discussion? Yeah. Or Peggy, are you done?
Oh, I was just gonna say, isn't this what our bylaws and policy is formed for? Like, that we're gonna be addressing all of these things.
Why do it 2 times? Let's wait for the
But I will-
recommendation.
yeah,
why do it 2 times? Because maybe I don't trust you doing it the first time.
This is the first time you want to pass this. And I'm saying we have a committee that's working on
I
it.
understand that, and we usually go through the bylaws every year
Yeah.
and make proposals.
January.
We didn't have an ad hoc committee when
Right.
I did this, and I still think that this needs to be changed as of now to be more transparent to the public. And it's not, there should be nothing in here that you're afraid of. All I'm asking you to do is and we would do that anyways, you're going to post when you make your changes at one meeting. You have discussions. But I'm asking also that you also put in the agenda, the correspondence of everything that you want to make the changes to, that the public is able to see prior to the voting.
I'm confused about what agenda correspondence is. What is it? Is it what comes in our packet?
It comes in, we get a packet with the agenda, and I would like the correspondence of whatever amendments you want to make included in that agenda. I think if you look,
On the bylaws?
no, not the bylaws, when you get your agenda,
Oh. Yeah.
It actually doesn't say on your correspondence, well, yeah, it'd be under communications.
Okay.
So whatever changes you want, when the agenda goes out, that would be part of the correspondence. The general public would be able to see it, and if they have comments to make on it, they can do that in their 3 minutes. And chances are you're not going to get a lot.
I'm kind of confused.
All it is trying to be transparent with the public.
Right. Does the
And if you
public-
have a problem with that,
No.
I just don't understand.
Does the public get these agendas before, like we do, before the meeting?
They're published 3 days before,
Okay.
or at least supposed to be, 72 hours.
Well, I'm not afraid of it, and I'm wondering how the public is supposed to trust us if you, as a board member, want to stand up here or sit here and say that you don't trust us. But I have it, I will review it with our committee, and, you know, maybe we'll take it.
I mean, you may add that in with here, as your new stuff. I don't know.
And it may come to light and the committee says, yeah, I think this is a good idea, and then, but at this time, I'm gonna vote no.
That's your...
I know.
Right. Number 2, I think it's redundant. I think it talks about.
Yes, I understand it's redundant. There was a reason for that.
Which is?
Because so many times amendments are proposed and no one ever gets a chance to see what the proposed amendments are. And I'm trying to give them the opportunity to see it before we vote on it.
We did give the proposed amendments for the bylaws for the prayer and pledge.
This time we did, yes,
Okay. What other time didn't we?
Pardon?
When was another time that we didn't provide a change to the bylaw in writing? Because it's part of our bylaws.
When motions are made at the meeting itself, and you want to vote on it on the same day, and people have no idea what that is.
We already know we can't do that.
Well,
So the next.
Now you're following
And it's
a
already
different
written
procedure.
that way, yeah, and we're following
So-
that procedure. I just want to make a statement that the policies, as far as, I know that right now, as far as the bylaws, it has to be in writing the meeting prior, and then after that, we have to vote on it. I'm not in agreement with doing that with our policies, and that's because policies are kind of more of an everyday practice, and we have to be able to make sure that we can change those in a timely manner. And going back to the policy that we did just have to change that was not constitutional, that the past director, I guess, took it upon herself to change it. And I'm glad that we were able to catch it because it was unconstitutional, and things like that have to be able to be made.
Which one?
The Policy Act, the one that we just voted on.
Oh, last week?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, last meeting.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, things like that are unconstitutional, we don't want to put it off. We want to be able to say, we need to change this, it's not according to the law, and
But this
that way we
isn't
eliminate ourselves
part
from
of the
being-
policy, this is the bylaws.
No, this is for the policy amendments down on Article 9 for the amendment. So that's only my concern and why I would vote no, because I want to be able to have our policies move forward quickly if there's anything that changes. It just helps the flow of the working of our board and the library.
I have a comment about the amendments. Section 1 you were fine with, and you wanted to add 2.
Pardon?
You wanted to add a section 2 to the amendment?
Yeah.
Okay, all you
Section
have
one, I
to do
didn't
in
have a problem.
section 1, it says bylaws, all you have to do is add policy amendments to the first one. You don't need the second sentence. Just add policy amendments to the first section. 2 words.
You can't change it if you're going to vote on it today, right?
So, is there any more discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Start with Carol.
No.
Peggy.
No.
John.
No.
I'm a no. Bonnie. Yes.
Yes.
Motion fails. Okay, next we have change of meeting date, time, and location. Is there any discussion on that? I know last meeting there was some discussion on some different days, times. The American Legion came up as an option for us on Thursday mornings at 10? 10 on Thursday morning.
In the American Legion, we can't do this meeting or at 5:30, because we have the young Marines every single week for us. So not even another Thursday would work. And then our attorney has a lot
Can
of
we hear you,
conflicts.
please, louder?
In the evening with other
Right.
municipalities that you have done.
So I'd like to make a motion to go with the
I'd
American
like,
Legion.
can I add some discussion to that? Or you want to do?
Oh, let's have him finish the motion.
Right.
I'd like to make a motion to change it to the third Thursday of the month at 10 o'clock at the American Legion. They have heat there, it doesn't rain inside the building, and they have air conditioning. So that's my suggestion.
I'll support.
Now, discussion.
Okay, in regards to changing the meeting time and day, I looked back at all previous board minutes and discovered that the meeting time changed from 2 p.m. to the current time of 5:30 p.m. in 2018. With that said, according to our bylaws, Article 6, Section 1, regular meetings, the regular meeting of the library board shall be held on each month. The date and time to be set by the library board at its first meeting in January. That's in our bylaws.
That was never done.
That's what I'm saying. So that was according to our bylaws. Since the meeting time has been the same for 7 years and all members of the board should have reviewed this before accepting this position. I personally find it ridiculous that a board of 7 people wants to change their meeting time and day for just one member. I don't think it should be a penalty.
It's actually 2 members, because they have a conflict too. And
Well-
when I took this, please let me finish. So when I took this, I mean, our meetings were 20 minutes. And Sherry and I were joking about that because her husband was at the county commissioner board. And we were joking how he was going to be jealous because our meetings were so short. Well, they are so long now.
Right, and I look back at meetings from other years, and they have been shorter in the past. It just depends, things ebb and flow, so I understand that. But I still think 2 people out of 7, it shouldn't be changed. That's
Actually, it's 3.
my opinion. Okay, now it's 3. Okay, then why is anybody on this committee, they should know that
Because it didn't go until 7, 7:30, 8 o'clock. And I did legit have somewhere to be at 7:30 in Lake Orion. That's why I had to leave early during the last month. I'm pretty flexible with my time, and I really think that changing it to 10 o'clock is going to give people the opportunity that can't come at 5:30. I know there's a lot of families after school, they have sports. And if we change it and there's a decrease in public participation, is there anything to say that we couldn't change it back or?
Why can't we do 5:30 on a different night?
Because there's other people that have conflicting
Schedules.
on those nights.
Okay, I also would like to say that, as you probably know, I like to research facts. There's 18 townships in Lapeer County. I wanted to find out when they hold their township board meetings for comparison to our 5:30 p.m. meeting time. Out of 18 townships in Lapeer County, 9 hold their meetings at 7 p.m. 2 hold their meetings at 7 p.m. or in the a.m. They have an alternating system. 1 holds their meeting at 7 p.m. or 6 p.m., alternating months. 3 hold their meetings at 6 p.m., 2 hold them at 7:30, and 1 holds their meeting at 5:30. The majority hold their meetings in the evening, so that the public can.
So the county commissioners hold theirs.
I know, there's
at
in
9
the
a.m.
morning, I know that, 9 o'clock.
And a lot of these people that are here are at that meeting on a regular.
Go ahead, Perry.
I think that if you change the meetings to 10 o'clock in the morning, you're stabbing the general public in the back.
Yes.
That's the purpose.
And I think that's what your purpose is.
Yes.
That's the reason why
Don't
I trust you.
Yeah,
that's not. That is, yeah.
All you do is accuse us, just stop.
No.
Yes.
If the shoe fits, wear it.
It does not fit.
I think it
And
does.
you just make up stories.
Oh, I make up stories. And tell me about the call from California.
My problem's not so much time and date, and I'm not the one that started this. It's this building. It's freezing in the winter. I don't want to be here. You don't want to be here probably. And it's, yeah, the rain comes in, there's buckets down. This is a crummy place to meet.
If we were holding our meetings.
That's my main thing.
If
The
our
acoustics
meetings
aren't
are,
very good here.
that's right, they're not. If our meetings were at the library, we could possibly explore the idea of alternating the timing.
But the venue's
But-
not big enough.
Right.
The library,
So-
they get canceled a lot.
So, yeah.
When you had your organizational meeting last year, did they vote at that time where the meetings would be held?
We do that at the beginning of this year, and that was never done.
I thought it was last year.
Yes, it was done.
It was
And was
decided.
it determined that it would be held at this place?
Yes, and it's been paid for the whole year.
No, that was done, that wasn't done last year. That was supposed to be done this year.
When the schedule was put out, is it the November meeting? So it was approved, I believe, in November. I can look back.
But it says that it's supposed to be approved, the schedule is supposed to be approved at the, in our
Okay.
bylaws, at the first meeting.
I'll look back and see, but we have to approve them at some point, so they had to have been approved because they're posted on the website. So I don't know which meeting
Not approved
it
by
would
the
have been
board.
in.
No, what happened was Bill approved them without the board's consent.
Do you want me
So
to?
move it here.
I
There's
can
too
look
many
on the
people
website
can't.
and see.
I looked back at the minutes from this past year, and there's nothing that says that it was
Okay.
ever brought.
It should say on the agenda itself when they were approved, or on the minutes themselves.
Yeah, there's nothing on the minutes this
Just,
year.
I know I'm not a part of this board per se, it's going to be very hard to have it during library business hours for us. We will basically have to shut our admin building down.
Kara, that's not true. I have 10 emails here from you where you were not in the admin building, you were gone for a week, and it was never closed down.
Well, I would have to come to these meetings during it,
I
and
think once a month you could spare.
Okay.
Especially when you were telling me numerous times that, sorry, you were not in the office all day, I'm not gonna be in the office this day, I'm gone for a week at a conference, so,
got it.
So was your first meeting this year in February?
yes.
Yes.
So was there a vote then
No.
about when
No.
meetings
No.
would take place?
We can't hear you.
I asked if, the first meeting was in February this year, and I asked whether or not there was a vote at that time in terms of where the meeting location would be.
What was the answer?
No. So, any more discussion? Because there is a motion on the floor for that.
I'll support the motion.
Is there discussion?
I have no more discussion, sorry.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have what was added to the agenda by Peggy is to discuss a packet being distributed to the public.
Yes, and I apologize, I don't have the packet with me. I think I got left in my car. I have concerns. It's being distributed by an organization called Fight for the First Lapeer. My main concern is there is a confidential memo in that packet. That is a memo that was passed out to the board members during a closed session. We, as board members, were not allowed to keep this memo. In fact, it was on top of a board member's folder, and it was taken off of it. As far as I know, it's never been in a board packet, and so this memo is being distributed, and I have concern that it may or may not be violating an Open Meetings Act, or the meeting was confidential. We were told specifically, you cannot keep this. You can read it, but you cannot keep it. And so now that is being distributed. The other thing in the packet is the invoice from the attorney. I am not sure if what's in that is violating attorney-client privilege. At the very least, it's a very detailed invoice, and it has names, possibly names of patrons that now their FOIA, what they FOIA'd, that's all going out to many municipalities it's being distributed to. So I have concern about that. The message that goes along with it is that the board is not being financially responsible. One of the things that is being shared, again, is the invoice of the attorney that was in the budget amendment that we didn't get in our board packets. It got passed out to us at the board meeting. But to spread this message that we're not being financially responsible, it's for board members, again, we're singled out and we're named, and we're not being financially responsible or transparent. The issue of who we voted for a search firm and how much we have raised or charged in attorney fees came up, but really the people that you are spreading this message to are not understanding. They don't have the background of what's going on and why our attorney fees are so much right now.
Can I just add something real quick? I don't mean to interrupt you, but when you talk about the attorney fees, I did want to note that it was said, if I'm not mistaken, that at the beginning of the year we had $4,800 allocated for attorney fees in the budget.
Yep.
I requested all the invoices from Foster and Swift, and from January 1st until March, after they were done, they had already blown through our budget. They came in at $5,530. So, I mean, $4,800 Foster and Swift, everybody says, you know, they're saying that they were a better attorney, but they had already blown through the entire budget. And that was just in the first 3 months. So $4,800 for attorney fees clearly wasn't even enough for Foster Swift for the year.
So, yeah, so the message is being, you know, the board is being attacked. It's board bashing. You just bash our board, and it's for things like that, and it's making I agree that the message starts out that is our board's number one priority, is to be fiscally responsible, to make sure this library keeps going. But what's important to know is that our millage is our main source of funding. And if this continues, this board bashing that's going on, and this, some of it misinformation, I'm not sure what the point is. It's kind of like that saying goes, you're cutting off your nose to spite your face. You know, you want to say, hey, they're not being fiscally responsible, but then you're making our millage at risk. And so I just thought it was important for the board to know that this is happening. The places that it's been distributed is the city meeting, the county meeting, Elba Township, and Lapeer Township that I know of for sure. And so those two documents, the memo that in my opinion was confidential, and it was, passed out during closed session, and then the invoice. I don't know what the legalities of that, if that can be passed out to everybody. And I do understand that once it's in a board packet, it's, a public document. But I also have heard that other places that have FOIA'd, and to my knowledge, this document wasn't FOIA'd. I know of some people that have requested, is this one that you requested? Yeah, you were telling me about that, from the city, and there's lots of stuff redacted. So
The city is not a library.
So
the city is not a library.
I'm talking about FOIAs.
I am
FOIAs
also
and,
weighing in here because you need to make that distinction to everyone here.
Mm-hmm.
There is a difference, and I'm not going to push back again. If you don't make that distinction, we're going to continue to have this communication barrier.
Right.
And I know none of us want that.
I'm saying that I don't know if this information should be redacted. That would be up to our attorney to determine. but I know that there are other places that do redact it. So it's just a concern. I thought all of the board members should know about it, and also members of the public should know.
Carrie, just for your information, we discussed at the Finance Committee how the budget was made as far as the legal fees went, and I believe that both Carol and Peggy agreed with what we had told them. It's kind of a guess game. They go back a year or two, they look at what the legal bills are, and then they put that in, because you have absolutely no idea what's going to come
Right.
through the, you know.
Right,
the
and I
following
understand,
year.
because we are dealing with a lot, and I just want people to know that I, as the chair, I'm gonna run everything by him, because the meetings are like this, and I know we are under a microscope, and we have special interest groups that are just waiting in the wing for us to have any kind of illegal misstep to sue. And I wanna protect the board, and I wanna protect the library as well, so that we don't get sued. So the minimal fees that we're paying to him are minimal compared to what a lawsuit would cost. And that's why maybe right now, with the heat that we are receiving, I just need to make sure that we don't that we're not doing anything that we shouldn't be doing to protect us and the library, so.
I have something else to share about the FOIAs. I went through this budget amendment that a lot of you have, and $4,300 of it is for FOIA. So almost a third of what the lawyer's fees are is because of FOIA requests. Just thought that was interesting, and you should know that.
Okay, is there any more discussion on that? The agenda is in here somewhere.
And I think whoever requests FOIAs, we're gonna be discussing this, should have to pay for that. The time, the paper, the printing. I only did one FOIA in my life. When my brother passed away, I wanted police reports from the city, had to go to City Hall. I had to pay for that. So anybody who wants FOIA information like that, I think you need to pay for it.
Okay.
I have some comments I would like to make. At last month's meeting, a few questions were asked by somebody in the public, and I'd like to respond. I currently have a library card. It says Lapeer District Library, so I must have received it after we became a district library, which I believe was in the early 2000s. The last time I personally was at the DeAngeli branch was in February of 2025 to volunteer with a play group sponsored by the Family Literacy Center. The last time I was at my local branch, which is where I usually go, is in Hadley. That was a week ago, July 10th, for their monthly book club. And then I would also, you already heard my stuff about in regards to the meeting times, etc. My last thing I'd like to say is, regardless of what the Lapeer County Press printed about me on June 22nd, 2025, I am not a member of any political party.
I would like to mention board members are free to discuss what they want, but as a library board, institutionally, we are forbidden by the Library Privacy Act of Michigan to disclose who are library patrons or not. So that is, it's a serious offense under the statute, and so I just want people to understand the legal background on that.
I'd like to remind everybody that August, we do not have a board meeting. So we will resume board meetings again in September.
Okay, I do have a few things. I'd just like to go into a little bit further on the concern over the attorney fees. And I remember my very first board member. We had a public figure get up and very adamantly pointed at the board and told us that he's lawyered up and he's watching us and we better not mess up. So I just want to reiterate what Carrie said, that yes, we are using our lawyer, our counsel probably more than other boards have, but, you know, when you have that at the onset, then, I think it's justified, and consultation is definitely much less than a lawsuit. And as Carol said, the uptick in FOIAs and our extra long meetings are all adding, factoring into that. And back to the organization, Fight for the First, that is distributing the packet and spreading the message. I personally was at the Lapeer Township Board meeting. They are the township that appointed me. I give a report there every month, and I say all good things about this library. I always start out with all of the wonderful programs that we have. There were a lot of people there, a lot of extra people. Normally the township is just 3 or 4 people, but they were holding a public hearing, and it was a good opportunity to brag this library up and to say positive things about it. So my reports generally are like that. I go over a couple of activities that are being offered. I always start with good news. I talk about board business and our upcoming action items. And then very briefly, I will talk about how many people were here and kind of generalize what the comments were about. That particular meeting, I did say that there were mixed comments from the public about adding prayer and pledge, and they were concerned over the attorney fees. Following me was the Fight for the First representative, and she, like I said, to me it was just 3 minutes, maybe a little bit less of board bashing, and I don't know the goal of that, the goal for doing that, and again, it's I believe it's putting our library at risk for a millage passing. All of the things the public has to say, you have every right to say it. But there's a lot of things being said over and over about the book banning and pulling the books and targeting these books. None of that is happening. It has not been on any agenda. You have every right to come and speak your piece. But I don't mean this to sound condescending either, but at the end of the day, we're on the board and you're not. We're going to be making the decisions. So if you want to be a part of that decision, I would just ask that you be a little more diplomatic in your concerns and the solutions, and not just go around bashing this board every chance that you get. Also at that meeting, I gave my report. I gave my report in the beginning of the meeting, I'm sorry. And then the second public time is when Fight for the First got up and presented their message. And then I followed with a much more passionate response than I normally give, because it was a very long day. I had some things going on, and all of the things that were being said. So I did address pretty much point for point everything that that speaker had laid out. And then following me, another person got up and spoke publicly, and they were supporting the board, and they were kind of criticizing this organization and the amount of board bashing that they're doing and the names we get called at the public meetings. And so and that person told me that at the end of the meeting, this person that was fighting so hard for free speech, Fight for the First, came up to him, who had every right to say what he wanted to say, and verbally abuse the speaker. How dare you? How dare you speak out against my organization? So I find it really, really conflicting. Like, I don't know what you want. I don't know what your goal is. I just think it's not doing anybody any good, especially this library. Again, I started to make tick marks how many people got up and are concerned about book banning. Where is it? Where is the book banning? Where are the books that are getting restricted, or the books that are getting targeted by viewpoint? It's just not happening. But like I said, you're welcome to get up every month and say it again. Leslie Getz, I did answer your question about your book, Fred Gets Dressed. I answered your question on social media. You asked me, what's the problem with this book? And I told you, I don't know. If somebody had concerns, you could find out, you could do a FOIA and find out who did the reconsideration, if it was done, and why they were against this book. I did not challenge this book. So I've already answered your question. You just don't like my answer, I believe. And also there was another time, I believe you came possibly to the Tea Party meeting, and you quoted me on social media as saying, yeah, Peggy Brodsky was there. I'm paraphrasing. Peggy Brodsky was there, and she said she doesn't want to ban books. She just wants to protect kids. Blah, 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 blah is what you said. That's how you quoted me. So why don't I just save you the translation and answer you that way? Blah, 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 blah. You're not hearing what I'm saying. You ask me a question, I give you an answer. So I don't know what to say. I've already answered you, I've answered you again. I do not know why that book was challenged or who challenged it. And I'm done.
Carol? Yeah, I would like to say the free speech everybody's talking about concerns adults, not children. Children can't smoke cigarettes. Children aren't supposed to get into R-rated movies. There's age limits on that kind of thing. And, you know, I would say, this is just me, nobody else on this board, that I think we need to have a rating system on our books so that under 18-year-olds cannot take out certain books, just like they can't go get cigarettes and stuff like that. The rest I've already said. I'm done. Get off the free speech. It's not talking about for children in the First Amendment.
It does.
But again, I just want to reiterate, nothing on our agenda has reflected any restricting, banning, or whatever. We have other things on our plate that we're having to deal with, and that is not even on the radar. So, Terry, did you have anything?
No, not at this time.
But that seems to be the goal, is like exclusion. And again, like, I mean, we're a community. We're supposed to be supporting one another. We're supposed to be elevating one another. And I really, like, I have to say, I'm sorry for pointing this out, but I was so distressed when you called the police. I mean, we're presented with, like, opposing ideas, which is, I think, what this is about. And instead of addressing those opposing ideas, you called law enforcement when they were, I mean, they're supposed to be out on the streets, you know, working for, you know, us, the people. And yet they're here watching us, you know, argue. So, I mean, I think people, we need to be a community.
I need you to address the board, please.
Sorry.
That's okay.
We need to be a community, and I think we need to support one another, and we all have the same rights. And I don't feel like those same rights are being addressed or acknowledged. Like we, you know, yeah, we're not trying to exclude anyone. It should be everybody. It should be inclusive. So, thank you.
I would just make this statement. Children do have First Amendment rights. The Supreme Court said so back when I was a school librarian. And the other thing, the one thing I asked last time, your reasons for wanting to serve on the board and your goals for the library. I would like to know what those are. And I am sorry that you are feeling beat up. I really, really am. I know this is difficult for you, but I think if you open up and you're honest about where you want to take this library and what you want to do with it, I think it'll be much better for you. Thank you.
I have been called more names and slandered more than you can imagine. Things that were so inaccurately said about me as a human being that are appalling. Been there, I understand. It's uncomfortable. When you are in public service, you are under a microscope. Whether you like it or not, it's part of the job. So get some thick skin, because it's not going to go away. but I understand what you're going through because I've been there myself. Now, you can change the meeting to 10 o'clock on Thursday. You might get rid of a few people in this room. I have enough vacation time. I'm going to continue to be here. So that isn't going to get rid of me. That being said, what you're doing by stonewalling the 2 colleagues that you have over here is it's appalling. It's disrespectful. And, you know, actions say a lot about an individual. And the fact that it appears, allegedly, appears that you've made up your mind before you even walked into this room, and you don't even, like, acknowledge that you have 2 colleagues down here, you have attorney in between them. It's just, this is not how library boards operate. I've been with library boards for years, decades, and we don't operate like this. I don't know what's happening here, but something's got to give at some point, and we need some civility. I mean, it's just crazy and ludicrous the way that we conduct business. You voted on something that wasn't even on the agenda this evening. Really, seriously, think about what you're doing.
Anyone else in the public like to speak? Susan Huff, and I am with Fight for the First Lapeer very proudly. You are a library board. You were appointed to set aside your personal interests and act in the best interest in all matters for this library. You weren't appointed to proselytize. You weren't appointed to represent only the 83 folks who signed your cringe online petition. You weren't appointed to protect children, and you weren't appointed to destroy this library. But that is your real goal, isn't it? There's a little cabal in Lapeer that wants to get millages off their property tax bills. They tried and failed with the EMS millage last year, and it looks like some of you may be part of that group. You signed petitions for Axe My Tax and bought their silly hats, knowing if that initiative were to pass, this library would lose almost 90% of its funding. So, what if it doesn't pass? But you've got that covered too. Your cabal has harassed, bullied, and threatened our librarians who are our neighbors and our friends. You've challenged inclusive children's books. You fought to restrict access based on your personal beliefs. You have folks thinking the library is a subsidiary of an adult novelty store. As one trustee has admitted, they're only concerned about a few books out of almost 80,000 pieces of printed material in our collections. To quote a librarian friend of mine, if we're queering the collection, as they say, we're doing a horrible job of it. You're scaring people away from the library, because if they visit the library, they will see that what you're trying to sell just is not true. And you need their support to put your new collection policies in place, preferably before a new director arrives. So let's not pass an amendment that lets folks see policies before you vote on them. So what's that do? It undermines the integrity of the library. And how would that help you defund the library? Well, you hope the voting bloc that always supports library millages, the informed, inclusive, education-loving, freedom-loving voters of this county will vote against the millage as a protest vote against this board. Axe My Tax is going to fail, but the voters in the library district are in this for the long haul. We love our library, and we will not let you defund it. And the voters, whether they're Democratic, Independent, and Republican, they'll be here to defend this library and continue to fight to access information long after none of you remain on this board. And if you really want to see something interesting, watch the clip on Fight for the First Lapeer's YouTube page. You will hear my comments. You will hear an unhinged board member. You will hear an unhinged ad hoc committee member. And I do have QR codes if you want to be able to just shoot that and get right to the film.
Thank you. Your time's up. Anyone else from the public like to speak?
My name is Shirley Tomzak. I've been a resident of Dryden Township for over 50 years. And we want to know what our goal is. It's to have a nonpartisan library board who is supporting the right for people to read.